Okay, everybody, welcome.
Hit your gavel.
Welcome to the regular council meeting at Cross Lake on Monday, January 8th. Let's stand for the pledge, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Alrighty, we got some interest out here tonight. That's good. First, we've got some additions to the agenda. Under B, we've got a letter from Paul Boblet that we're going to read. Additional bills for approval. Under the mayor's report, MMUA report, and an email from Kathy Allen in regards to the absentee ballots. And to discuss the interim planning and zoning services, procedure approvals, signatures, and wages. So I need a motion to approve those.
I'd like to add the fire chief acceptance of our offer.
Where do you want to put that, Marcia?
I don't care.
Mayor's or city ad?
Discretion.
Huh?
Your discretion, wherever you want to.
Second. Or was that a motion? That was a
No, I'm
motion,
just
right?
adding to the
Oh, okay. I
additions.
thought you needed to do a.
You want me to make a motion with that addition?
Do we need a motion, Char?
Yes, for the additions, yes.
Okay.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, next we got the first of the year organizational meeting. First on the appointments is appointment of legal services. Civil is our city attorney. We got a new attorney representing us now. Joe Langle, I can't see you on there, but thanks for coming. He's from,
Dave, Jordan is supposed to be attending. I'm guessing maybe the roads were bad, so
Okay.
he might be
but
getting.
Joe is from the firm too also,
Yep,
right?
Joe is here, but Jordan should be getting here soon.
So the firm is Ratwick, Rozak, and Maloney. So I guess, do we need a motion to approve?
Are we approving all four at the same time?
After
all of
we
them?
do all of them, I think.
Okay, it says motion there. Okay, we'll do them all. Next is-
Do individual.
Next is our labor attorney, Sue Hanson of Madden, Gallanter, and Hanson. Prosecuting is Crow Wing County. Bond counsel, Taft Law. Bond advisor, David Drone Associates. So let's make a motion to approve those.
Approve all of them as submitted.
Second.
Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Designate acting mayor, and I'm going to just redesignate Marcia as the acting mayor for next year. Now, it says council action motion. Do we do that on each one of these?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
I move to approve Marcia as a
Acting mayor?
mayor.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Appointment of two ex officios to the Fire Relief Association, mayor and city administrator. Need a motion.
I move to approve the appointment of the two ex officios to the Fire Relief Association.
I'll
Second.
second it.
Take it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Approve schedule of the regular council meeting, second Monday of the month at 7 p.m.
I'll make a motion to approve that.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Approve the 2024 schedule of city council and commission meeting dates.
I just wanted to note that in November, Monday, the 11th, would be our regular meeting. That's a holiday. So we would be having our meeting on a Tuesday, the regular council meeting on a Tuesday.
Okay, and that's why it's highlighted.
Yeah.
Okay.
I move to approve the schedule of city council and commission meeting dates.
I'll second it.
Okay, motion and a second. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Appointment of the official newspaper. We have a letter from the Echo Publishing, and we actually have a letter from Paul Boblet. So let's make a motion to approve the Echo.
I move to approve the Echo as our official newspaper.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Do you want to read that?
Yeah, I'll read the letter real quick.
Okay, we got a letter from Paul Boblet here that he's.
So Paul Boblet wanted to thank us and said, for the past 16 years, Northland Press has proudly served the city as their legal newspaper. I would like to take this opportunity to thank the current and former city officials and commission members for their trust in allowing us to represent the business of the city through reporting legal notices and other advertising. Thank you to the citizens who attend and participate in the meetings. My hope is that will continue, and there will even be more civic participation in the future. Lastly, I would like to thank current and former city staff members who are always respectful, transparent, and forthcoming with information. Best regards, Paul.
All righty, and thank you, Paul. Okay, next, appointment of the city engineer. Reappoint Bolton and Mink. Is there a motion?
I move to approve the appointment of city engineer Bolton and Mink.
Second.
Is there any discussion on that? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Approval of official depositories, Franston Bank 4M Fund.
Move to approve the official depositories of Friends and the Bank and 4M.
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Designate signatories on city checking and savings account, mayor, acting mayor, city administrator, and city clerk. Motion?
I so moved that the 4 remain on the checking.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Designate electronic fund transfer delegates, mayor, acting mayor, city administrator, city clerk. Motion?
I so moved to designate electronic fund transfer delegates as mayor, acting mayor, and the city administrator and city clerk.
Second.
Second by Jackson. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Memo dated January 8th from Mayor Nevin, RE commission appointments. So we should go through those, huh?
Yes.
Hang on, let me catch up. Why don't I have it here?
Got it.
Okay, first, planning and zoning, we've got two. David Fuse is getting appointed to his first term. David filled in for the last, 6 months or something, but he has taken on the appointment for his first term. And Joe O'Leary is also doing his first term. And I know both of those guys. I talked to Joe O'Leary today, and the Planning and Zoning Board is going to really benefit from both of those guys being on it. So we need a motion to approve. Do them all? Okay. Park and Rec, Ann Schrupp is going to reappoint to her second term. Heather Jones, reappoint to her second term. And Mary Jo Fitzfald is going to be appointed to her first term. Public Works, Dave Schrupp is back. He wants an appointment to his first term for Public Works. Economic Development Authority, Roger Roy is going to be reappointed for his second 6-year term. Let's have a motion for that, to approve those.
I move that we approve all of the new commissioners.
Second.
Okay, any discussion on any of them? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Now there's a thank you. Mark Wessel and Mark Lindner both spent 7 years on the Planning and Zoning Board, and they are both done. Their appointments are up. Joe Albrecht from the Park and Rec has put 12 years in. Joe is not a resident of Cross Lake, but he's got a real passion for the Park and Rec, and he did a fabulous job. And Mick Cheetah had 6 years on the Public Works, so I just want to thank them for their service.
I agree. They've all been really, really good candidates and worked hard on those commissions. Appreciate them.
Okay, next we got public forum. Action may or may not be taken on issues raised. If council requires more information or time for consideration, the issue will be placed on the agenda of the next regular council meeting. Speaker must state their name and address. Oh, not seeing anybody coming up, we'll move right along. Oh, Dan and Betty Solar.
Daniel Solar, 13435 Meyer Lake Road, 50 Lakes. Owner with my wife Betty, representing Cross Lake Ace Hardware. For the sake of the council, people watching at home, residents and business people in the audience, and Cindy from the chamber, I will briefly explain why I'm at the open forum. I originally dropped off all the materials needed to be on tonight's agenda on time with a call to action by the council, but was notified I was left off the agenda. Does anyone know specifically why Cross Lake Ace was not included in the council packet?
Anybody who made that call?
Nobody here.
Who made the call?
I did. Number one, you threaten legal action in it. Once you do that, Dan, you take it out of our hands to sit and discuss it like this. We have to run it through our attorney, and we have to have them provide it. He's here, but this is his first night, but I don't think
Can you point out exactly where the word lawsuit was used in my thing?
At the bottom of the last page, you talked about you asked for reimbursement for around $69,000, and I'm estimating the number. But
Correct. Incorrect, sir. It says Cross Lake City Council Solutions to consider. Consider.
But you're asking for roughly $69,000.
These are to consider.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's different. The word lawsuit is actually brought out into the public, and that is incorrect. You cannot use the word lawsuit when it was not on here.
Okay. Then I apologize for that.
It should be noted that Cross Lake Ace and the word lawsuit was never used.
Okay? Got it?
Thank you. The situation at Cross Lake Ace was the roof in the outdoor power area was getting worse over the last couple of years. And finally this summer, the extensive roof leaking became so bad that it created unsafe conditions for not only the employees, but the shoppers as well. So bad that we used a kid's swimming pool and numerous Ace 5-gallon buckets to collect the water coming inside the building and then continuously dumping them outside when it rained. Our insurance company said it was not covered by insurance due to overall poor design to begin with, which was prior to our ownership, but strongly encouraged us to get it replaced as soon as possible because of the working conditions. To get a permit to replace a roof was a question mark for us. We had, as Chapter 26 does not specifically state one way or another, except houses don't need a permit to replace a roof. So to be upfront, we decided to apply for a permit so no questions would be raised. What exactly we were doing makes sense. August 15th, the permit process was started. August 23rd, the permit application was dropped off with remarks by planning and zoning that everything looked good and probably wouldn't even need to do an on-site visit for a roof replacement. Cross Lake Ace did have an on-site inspection on September 14th at 8:35 a.m. Then on September 18th, we were notified that the permit was completely denied, but we can refile a new permit, but had to follow the guidelines in Chapter 26, which is used for conditional permit criteria. So on September 26th, we started the permit process over again using the requirements indicated in the letter from Planning and Zoning, which included things like structural design of the roof, delineation of wetlands, how we handled our waste management, and how many more trees we needed to plant for proper screening for replacing an unsafe roof. October 5th, Cross Lake Ace had an OSHA inspection. The inspector was not only surprised we needed a permit to replace an unsafe roof, but the length of time to get a permit for an existing business. December 8th, we finally completed everything required on the conditional use application and went in at 4 p.m. to submit it for planning and zoning to look over. But as we submitted the completed application for review, the permit was already filled out and handed to us. Today, Cross Lake Ace Hardware celebrated its 25th year anniversary today. Opened January 8th, 1999. It is called Cross Lake Ace Hardware and not Dan and Betty's Hardware Store because it's your community hardware store. And with any luck, it'll be serving Cross Lake and the surrounding lakes area for another 25 years. Betty and I have a strong passion for being a cornerstone in this city and have fully embraced helping this community out in any form. However, our permit process, the inconsistent treatment by the City of Cross Lake Planning and Zoning was the worst experience Betty and I could have imagined. The actual permit process created personal, employee, and financial stress for trying to replace an unsafe roof. I will now close my portion in this open forum, but I have some questions for the council about the permit process and show some of the direct negative impacts. Thank you, Dan and Betty Solar. Could I use this for a second?
Spin it around, Dan.
Kind of new to this.
And at this point, I will leave it in the council's hands for direction of me, but I do have the packet that I handed in. I do have it with me if anybody would have any interest in looking at it.
Dan, do you have multiple copies of that? You can.
They're in the packet.
Oh, okay.
We all should have a packet because none of us got any paperwork on it.
I have it right here. Betty has it. So if you would like
Perfect.
one, it's exactly the same thing that we dropped off.
It's okay.
Why did you get a copy to the gentleman right there in the end?
So this list is in that packet.
That is correct. So you can, I just thought I'd show it up so everybody in the audience can read it, people at home can see it, and pretty black and white questions as far as that, so.
So the list of things you needed to get your permit is also in your packet,
Our actual permit is in there.
but the list that was required is also in there.
Yes, it is right from chapter 26, yes.
Okay.
Conditional use permit was basically their criteria.
Well, Dan, I personally don't want to get too much into the weeds on this thing, but I do want to apologize for your delay, as you know.
Yeah, I feel the same way. I'm sorry it was such an ordeal for you, and hopefully we can get some answers to those questions. I'm curious to see the answers as well.
Thank you.
We will get back to you. I mean, we'll all take a close look at it.
Yes, thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thanks, Dan and Betty. Come on up, Bob.
I think Marcia's
Can one council person take something off the agenda or not allow something on the agenda? I don't think so.
Well, let's let Bob do it, then let's do it.
All right. First of all, I have two things. First of all, I'd like to say a shout out to the supporters of Crow Wing County who voted not to accept the flag, the new Minnesota state flag. There's been a lot of controversy about that. It's by basically a cancel culture committee that has no legislative oversight or authority to actually push this through, although they seem to try to be bullying themselves through. I really appreciate Crow Wing County for stepping up and not taking that route. One of the things that isn't being discussed is the probably hundred or more millions of dollars it's going to cost to change the flag, from the flag itself to the seals to the patches on the sheriff's departments to just about everything that the state of Minnesota touches. And it's important that the taxpayers know from Cross Lake and other counties of the state that this is going to be a direct impact to their wallet, especially with an unfunded mandate to, or unfunded committee to come up with this flag.
Do you know what the status is, Bob, with that now?
It's under review, and but there is no public input. They're just taking suggestions from the county, and there is no recourse to against a committee that has no legislative authority to exist in the first place.
Why would there be, huh?
What? Yeah, right. But they're putting it off like it's going to be Minnesota state law, and that couldn't be further from the truth. But we can't be bullied into cancel culture, and that's what this is.
Can I just interrupt briefly?
Sure, go ahead.
Bob, could you just state your full name and your
sure.
address, please?
Bob Fry, 37803 White Pine Trail, Cross Lake. Okay, the second thing is recently my wife and I went to Texas, amongst other places, Texas State Fair. And when we were there, we were at the ticket area. Is this on?
How do you turn that on? And talk into the mic too, Bob, but is there a switch to flip on that, or?
Okay.
Here we go, yep.
This is at the ticket counter here. And as you can see, there's a bill. People are walking by this bill here. And if we blow it up, it's a $5 bill laying on the ground. And people down south are where all these illegal and cartels and drugs are being smuggled across. They're more aware than what's going on up here. But before we left, I tried to buy some Narcan here in the
You
city.
missed a part of your story there. So why is the $5 bill sitting there?
The $5 bill, people are walking by it because it can be laced with fentanyl or other drugs, particularly fentanyl. And if you touch a bill, if you walk by and say, oh, look what I found, or a kid touches it or something, they can have a fentanyl overdose. And so knowing that, it can be in a letter, it can be anything that you actually touch. It doesn't have to be ingested. You don't have to be a drug user to get the overdose. But it's coming this way. And I just wanted to bring it to the city's attention if they wanted to have some Narcan in the city offices or on board with...
Tony, do you guys carry that?
Yeah.
Narcan?
State law, we have to have.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, but it's not state law for a lot of places to have it, and I just wanted to bring it to your attention because it's a very dangerous drug. And I was a CPR instructor for many, many years, and it takes a long time for things to kind of get into their process. But we should have a jump on that because...
So as a public announcement or a public eye-opener here, how do you know if somebody is overdosing on fentanyl and not some other reaction?
Right.
I mean, and can Narcan or something, if you give it to them, can it hurt them if they don't need it? Those are two questions I would have.
It can't hurt somebody if you give it to them. This is the box here, and this is what's in the box. There's two of those dispensers in there. But to answer your question, somebody can't be well, I shouldn't say can't, but so far the likelihood is not there that they will, somebody would have detrimental effects from receiving this. Also, as I was explaining about the CPR thing, I don't think it's going to be in the manuals to check for pinpoint pupils when you're shaking somebody to see if they need CPR or not. And it's covered in the instructions and so forth, but that's a telltale sign that somebody is having a drug overdose instead of a cardiac arrest.
So not dilated pupils, but real
Pinpoint.
Constricted.
Yeah, if they're having a cardiac arrest, generally they're dilated. If they're having a overdose, they're pinpoint.
Where did you buy that? Could you just buy it at the store?
Yeah, this is over the counter. I purchased it at Target and Walmart. I think the Cross Lake Drug Store has it. Anyway, it's widely available, and
So it's a good public announcement to people if they're, you know,
right.
what is it, $40 or something for a kit?
It's about 44 and change. Yep. So.
Okay, well,
Okay. Thank you.
thanks, Bob.
Yep.
Tony, is that information accurate as far as you know to pinpoint and non-effective? And
Yeah, typically with opioids, their pupils would be pinpoint. As far as the Narcan use on someone that doesn't need it, I don't have a medical background, but there was some talk in our last training that, you know, it's not necessarily good for someone to have it if they don't need it. But if you weigh your options, you know,
Right.
it's worth a shot.
Okay, thanks. Thanks, Bob. Anybody else? Pat? Oh, she's not coming. Oh, Peter. Here, I thought this meeting was going to take an hour tonight.
At least.
We're not going in that direction, are we?
Peter Graves, 14131 Sugarloaf Road. I'm just trying to keep the council informed on a timely basis that we are still planning to do an April Foolish Day pickleball tournament. However, when you look at the calendar, that weekend is the 30th and 31st of March, and Monday is the 1st. So we haven't figured out whether we're going to be doing the April Foolish Day in March or wait to the next weekend and doing it on the 5th or 6th. But
I trust you will let us know.
we'll figure that out and let you know. And again, any monies raised from the fees and or donations go back into the community charities. And so we'll have 3 charities picked out at random on that day, and that's what the money goes. So just keeping you informed.
Thank you.
Thanks, Peter. Now, Pat.
Pat Netco, 36084, County Road 66, Cross Lake. First, I'd like to congratulate Dan and Betty on 25 years at Ace Hardware. I just celebrated my 25th as well, and it's a big milestone, so, yeah. I'd also like to thank Tim Bray for his interview with Lakeland TV a week ago or so. It was all about the project and how they're working with the businesses and the residents of our community to keep the road open and have it be a smooth, successful construction project. So thank you, Tim. Appreciate that. And on that note, with the construction project, we did have a Cross Lakers meeting this morning, and we discussed a few things. We want to make sure that, of course, the timing of the project is, as you said, to benefit, and I know that I'm beating a dead horse here, but I will continue to reiterate the importance of the timing of the project and to try to keep the road open at all times if possible. We're also concerned with the aesthetics of the project. The lighting, we want to make sure, with having 14 lights, it's very hard to envision 14 of those black lights. And I did drive down by Grandview and looked at those lights. And so we kind of want to preserve the quaintness of Cross Lake and the beauty of Cross Lake. And we want to make sure that we get this right from the beginning. So we really want to look at that and make sure that we have the banner holders and the electricity and the water in the roundabout. Also, in the roundabout, we're talking about signage. And it's widely felt that we should have a larger size monument type sign, welcome to Cross Lake, whether it be whatever it is, a loon or a big thing somewhere. And I know that we've designated a space for a monument, and what are the possibilities that can go in the roundabout there, rather than just a little welcome to Cross Lake sign. And what is the money in the budget for that? So do we need to have people start researching that?
Can that be aside from the project? So you guys could do your thing, and then we could go in there a month later and put in a monument or something, or next year? Come on, Tim, don't look at me like that.
Well, the big questions are the placement and the cost and the design. So who decides all that? Does the public get a say in that? Of where it's gonna go, how much it's gonna cost, what's left in the budget for the money? Because I think we've lowered the cost of what was in the budget for this project. So what's left, and can we have a ta-da thing which, says welcome to Cross Lake? So I don't know for sure what the money left in the budget is for that.
Do you guys know?
So-
Round numbers, anything?
And I realize it's public forum, and I'm
Right.
kind of
Okay.
just laying the groundwork here so that perhaps we can get some answers to that, and we can keep that in the front of our thought process here. And if there needs to be some help with, if it's a separate thing, do we need to have a committee or try to raise money for this? Or is there money in the budget that could pay for something like this? So those are questions that we would need to be answered probably sooner rather than later to get the ball rolling if construction could possibly start in April. Which we realized the money wouldn't go in for quite some time, but.
I would probably encourage you to bring some ideas, get a committee, however, right? I mean, do you guys think?
We will need information because I'm sure the city is paying for all of this, so it'd be best if we did it at the same time, so it's one construction project.
If you could come up with some options,
Okay.
Cross Lakers
I
are great on
thought
that.
Well,
that was
I think
in
a big part of that is what are we allowed to do? What are the parameters of the space, the cost, what are the parameters? So
I mean,
before we
that-
can even look
You
at
got to
something.
hook up with Tim.
Tim will put in his 2 cents.
Okay. And the other concern is the colored concrete that will be in the median areas and possibly in part of the areas in front of Andy's. That is supposedly going to all match because there is now going to be just grass from Swan Drive up to Eagle Pass between the curb and the sidewalk. So that was, we thought, going to be some kind of colored concrete, but that's not anymore. So if the rest of it is going to match, who decides the color of the concrete? Is there any say in that, or is that something that the county just decides it's going to be pink?
Do you have a preference, Pat?
I'm not going to say that. I don't want pink.
No, I
I
don't
can tell
either.
you that. The brick, a nice brick red, or I don't know, has been brought up
Right.
green or something. But that's not for me to decide. I just wondered who does decide that, and if there can be some public say, and why or why nots of that. Okay?
Thanks, Pat.
Yeah. Go ahead, Tim. Well, I think he's.
I know we're just in open forum, but I just want to be clear, and we've said from the very beginning that a monument in the middle of the roundabout will not be allowed.
Right.
I know that the Cross Laker group, and I think it was even specifically brought up here, there was some provisions about providing a spot off to the side for that, and it was decided against that. Maybe if there's still a desire to have a monument as a gateway to the community, that could be reconsidered, but in the middle of the roundabout, it can't be allowed. And what I'm envisioning is what you might see at the town square at the town square sign at the intersection of Swan and 66. That's something that would consider a hazard that we
By the
that we
chamber,
don't.
okay.
No, by,
The water.
and so, that's being consistent with every other roundabout and every other entity that we worked with that has wanted that type of thing in the roundabout.
Tim, you're talking about actually in the roundabout.
I'm talking
Right.
about in the middle.
Right.
It will look nice, I will tell you that, but unfortunately, people find themselves in the middle of these things, and the last thing we want to do is hurt somebody because of that. What we have talked about and is in the plan right now is trees and some other decisions that you made last week.
Who
So
determines the design of whatever is the sign, that's in the sign in the roundabout?
There isn't a sign.
There isn't.
No, we said there would be a small sign.
I mean, I'm envisioning something like what NISWA has. It
Right.
can't be something that people run into and get hurt. People are going to make mistakes in this roundabout, and we don't want it to hurt them.
But
And
do you create the design, or do we have?
No, I mean, there's some flexibility, but it has to be something that is, you can reasonably look at and it's not going to hurt
Will
somebody.
you give us some options, like provide us some?
I think that some of them around here, and just looking at NISWA, we're not going to dictate what color the concrete is. I think the only thing I would ask is that it's contrasting.
Right.
It's not just the same concrete. I think that's what you want to.
Doesn't painted concrete fade?
There's, I talked to
Or
a
not-
gentleman
not so much
locally,
anymore?
actually, just.
Yeah, but that's not painted. You're going to put dye and mix
Well-
it in the concrete,
There's some ways to
right?
dye
But
it. And I'm
you-
not super familiar with that, but there are some options, and I would just say contrasting. It can be
So it's
whatever
okay
color.
if a public group gets together and brings
Certainly.
some thoughts?
Certainly.
We did have a little placeholder for a sign or something in front of the chamber building, correct? Yes. We
Still there.
talked about
Yeah.
that.
I think it's.
We did.
I think
An
that may
area.
be an aside. Well, the part set aside for something larger, like Pat was talking about, was decided that we are not going to do that.
I don't
It was our
remember
last
that.
direction.
Yeah,
I don't recall
I
that.
remember deciding against that, but
right in front of the chamber, or
Right, on that corner.
that area. Yeah.
What we talked
discussed
about
it.
is reserving an area.
Reserving
and
the
then letting-
space.
And then
yeah.
We
but
were going to
not
hold off
creating
on the sign
actual
for a little
monument.
bit.
That's something the
Right.
public
Yes.
Right.
can get
Right.
behind. Okay.
But that's where it could go.
And with your approval, they add a sign to the roundabout when it's completed?
Yes, we can work together on what that is. It just can't be something,
Just one of those,
wood, so
just
you can
one of
blow
those
through it.
small signs like you see along the highways that they allow, or not?
Measurement parameters, can you just give us a?
I can research those, but if you were just driving around, I think NISWA
NISWA
sign
would be a good example.
is something.
What he's saying.
I think you'd be better off putting it on the
Okay,
side.
thank you.
Thanks. All right, anybody else? Okay, the consent calendar.
Oh,
Oh, go ahead,
how,
Marcia.
how are we going to take care of these questions? It says questions to be answered at the council meeting. I don't think we have the answers. Who are we going to direct to do this, or do we want to go through them and try and answer them?
that
We don't
the
have
Ace
a
Hardware
planning zoning, what?
Well, we're not going to do it at this meeting.
Okay, so are we going to direct someone to take care of answering these questions? I don't want it to be,
Festered.
well, no, not festered. I don't want it to be slid under the rug and never done, because, so are we going to direct, somebody?
Well, you want to direct staff to do it, or I'd like to read them. I don't know what they are.
They're right here, but I don't think we can answer.
Do it now.
Well, unfortunately,
I think we need to, direct on how to handle it.
who in the city?
Okay.
Who in the city staff is?
Okay,
you know,
okay, I will make a motion that Mike make sure that these answers are these questions are answered, and get back to the city council with the answers and to Ace Hardware.
What about, should our new city attorney help as well?
Well, I'm just saying, he can get whatever help he wants to get, but he's going to make sure it's done.
All right, so that's a motion.
Yes, it is.
Who's going to second it?
Second.
Can you just repeat that for me?
Cap
please?
that?
I want to make a motion that we direct Mike to make sure that these questions are answered, and if he needs assistance of the city attorney, that's fine, and that the answers get to the city council and to Ace Hardware
By next meeting.
by the end of the month. That should give you enough time, or do you,
I think we should refer this back to planning and zoning, since it is a planning and zoning issue.
they're not going to be able to answer it anyway.
Peter's gone. Cheryl's
You want-
somewhat in the mix.
If you're talking the commission doesn't meet again till like February 23rd, something like that. I think that's what it is.
Well, Mike, could you just work with Cheryl and try to,
Sure.
thank you.
Okay, so that was a motion by the end of the month?
Yes.
Is there a second on that?
Second.
Aaron seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Help you.
Consent calendar, everybody had a chance to review it? Motion to approve.
I move to approve the consent calendar.
Second.
Okay, any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Now the mayor and council members report. First is a resolution accepting donations. We've got 2 donations today, one from the PAL Foundation for $300 intended to be used at the Halloween party. Other one is Cross Lake Firefighters Relief Association for $5,152.65 for a battery-powered fan.
Wow.
Chip here.
He's on the TV.
I move we approve the donations.
Second.
Okay, Aaron, do you know what the battery-powered fan is?
Do I know what it's for?
What it is?
It's a large fan that runs off batteries that they can put in somewhere that has no power, like clearing out a room, a house, a building.
Oh, okay. Must be a big fan. Okay, we got a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Next is schedule a date for the city administrator evaluation. Does anybody have any dates in mind?
Well, do we want it done this month? Because you're,
Say, when's the crossover? There's a crossover, or an overlap.
Overlap of what?
You'll be gone, she'll be
Oh,
gone.
I could do it the 16th, but that's about all I could do it this month.
Marcia,
30th
30th?
Yeah, so we'll have to put it off to February.
or the 31st, whatever. Anytime after the 30th.
Anytime after that, Marcia?
Anytime after the 30th. So if you want to do it on the 31st, if he's,
I can't do it on the 31st either, but, anytime then. I'm getting back on the 31st.
February 5th. It's a Monday. 9 o'clock.
Okay?
can we make it a little bit later because the Cross Lakers meet on the first Monday and I'd like to be there.
10:30.
so that's at February 5th at,
February 5th at 10:30.
he'll make sure he gets 3.
Okay, then Aaron, did you have a question on what is the procedure or something for the evaluation?
Oh, I was gonna say,
Want to make sure that Shar gives Mike written notice 3 days in advance that that evaluation is going to take place. And then he needs to know, he needs to give us 24 hours whether he wants it open or closed prior to the meeting.
You still have that from last time, right? Yeah.
So do that again. Thank you.
Aaron, do you have any questions on how we're going to do this? Or?
Well, what I had hoped is that we would meet as a council prior to that and sit down and put numbers together so when we walk in, we know if it's a 1, a 10, a 4, a 3, and it's a consistent from the council, and 1 or 2 people presented.
That probably isn't going to happen, Aaron.
No,
Okay, then do it the way you want.
We want to all agree and, yeah. That probably
everybody
won't
does
happen.
their own evaluation and
Yeah,
submits it.
That's why there's 5 of us
Will
evaluating.
this be a closed meeting?
That's up to Mike.
That's up to Mike.
I'd like to see the comments before we meet.
Well,
Comments.
I don't want to walk into it blind.
I know, but we,
questions, you mean?
Well, both.
No. If we have a comment, let's say on a particular item, we say he's doing very well, and this is what we feel he's doing well on. But if there's an area that he needs to do improvement, then we list that out so he has an understanding walking into it. That's kind of why I wanted to meet.
well, isn't that what we're bringing to the evaluation?
Well-
Isn't that what you do and then you discuss it at the evaluation?
Yes, it is.
Before, so he has an opportunity to see, to answer, not just be cold answering.
but don't we do the evaluation during the closed meeting?
Exactly.
So we'd have to do the evaluation prior to it, turn it in, and then just go. Is that
No,
what you're suggesting, Mike?
no.
Well, I'd like to have an opportunity to know what I'm being evaluated on first, and what
you'll have the-
what
you'll
the
have the
questions
form.
are.
You'll have the
And
form.
what the comments are, so I can prepare a response. Otherwise, I'm just going to listen.
Yeah, I mean,
You have that
last
right,
time we
too.
did it, we just did it when we were there, right?
Well, you didn't, the rest of the council did.
Well,
Well, you're free to respond at the time.
No, I was not.
okay, well, that's fine, then we'll have to have another one to go over it or
Well,
something.
should we just
but-
still shoot for the 5th and have our papers into him by Friday the 2nd? So then he has the weekend to.
Well, so then what are we going to do on the 5th when we go to the meeting?
Well, then I guess that's when
Already
we're
done.
talking, I guess. I don't know.
That's when you talk and you discuss. We want them to get more education in a particular area, training, whatever it might be. And then explain what it is that training is, and he has an opportunity to tell us, yes, I can get that training at such and such. But I'm going to caution everybody, we're talking several closed meetings, and we have to be careful that we don't do too many when we're dealing with personnel issues. I just read a deal on it, and one city got stung pretty good.
For having too many closed meetings?
Yeah.
I don't even think we've had a single one.
Have we
We
had one?
can give him the form, and
We don't know if
he
it's going to
can't,
be closed either.
yeah, and if he wants more time to answer or come back to us, that's his prerogative, but
Wait, didn't-
I think give it to him, and
Didn't
not
we-
your filled out one, but the form.
Didn't we need 3 days, or you said something about posting it for 3 days? So if we give them our answers on a Friday, and if, they're in favor or not in favor of if he wants it closed or public, is that going to determine if we can have it on that Monday, because it's not 3 days?
No, we don't have to give him the,
it sounded like. It's like
Well, you have an attorney here that you can ask that kind of
Exactly.
question.
Oh, okay.
no, that's just a notice, that's required by law.
Clarify something?
You have an attorney here.
Yeah, can I just clarify something? So the intention is that we each fill out an evaluation separately and submit our answers to you, and then we all meet together to discuss our answers?
I mean,
What do you, what's your
seems goofy
opinion
to
on what
me.
you see going on here?
It seems goofy.
City attorney,
Is that a common practice?
question.
Is the plan to have this at a regular meeting, or would this be a
No,
special meeting?
a special meeting, yeah.
So you need the 3 days in order to determine whether it'd be closed.
But it's just a yearly evaluation that should be done every year, although we haven't been doing it every year, but, it's,
What it is we're looking at, should we write out our comments on what he's doing good, what he's doing average, and what he's doing wrong,
Individually outside of the meeting.
and submit them to him so he has an opportunity to discuss them with all of us.
You could, that's a policy consideration.
Okay, I think
so you've
that's,
seen that done before?
Not offhand. Not off the top of my mind.
I've been involved in over 30 city administrative evaluations, and I've never seen where they've been submitted to the city administrator prior. It's been taken care of at evaluation meeting.
And that's something, too, I'm happy to look into if you prefer to take some time.
Why don't you do that? We'll schedule it for the 5th.
Yeah.
And if we want to have them filled out before, let us know. You're going to have to let us know, though.
and I don't have a preference on the form, because that was a question
Did
also.
I think Susan sent us some forms. I had a favorable one. Did you?
Yep.
Did you?
Yep.
Dave, did you?
Yep.
Champlin looked pretty good.
I think I
Which one?
emailed it to you,
Champlin,
Dave.
Yeah.
the one from Champlin.
It's from Susan.
So we should get that here.
I just feel like it might be beneficial for the council, have the opportunity to discuss together, the evaluation first, because, maybe our opinions will influence each other and, bounce off each other before.
So are we going to have that a closed meeting on the 5th for the council to get together and do it? And then we'll come back and give our results?
That's up to you guys.
I mean, that's fine with me. I don't mind discussing it.
Just have one meeting and be done with it.
Okay.
We'll wait to hear back from you. Thank you very much.
Okay, are we done with that?
So,
Discuss wages for police officers and police chief. Boy, Tony, he was conveniently when he left you up to that, huh? Nice. What do you have prepared for us?
If I was informed correctly, you guys talked about it at the special meeting a week or two ago, about bumping Officer Haynes and Martin up to
Yeah.
step 6 on the pay
Right,
scale.
we did that.
So
Yeah.
I think this meeting was the one where you guys were gonna vote on that. Is that correct?
Approve it.
Approve it?
Oh, and that's it?
Yeah, that's all I got for
That's
you.
all it is?
Well, well, there's a second part, but go ahead with that.
So just start with that?
So make a motion to approve the,
We have to.
yeah.
I'll make a motion to approve what we approved at the last meeting to bump those 2 officers up to step 6.
I second that.
Okay, any other discussion on
That
that?
amount,
What's the amount?
Yeah.
Off the top of my head, what was it?
I got it, Jackson.
31?
Got it.
Step 6 on their union scale is 3147.
Right.
And they're both gonna be the same? Correct. Yeah.
both, what both?
Well, there's 2 of them, right?
Yeah.
There's
And
two.
that's for Officer Haynes and Officer Martin. The other thing on the schedule is the chief wages. I know nothing about that.
Let's
Okay, let's
finish the first, yeah.
But so Officer Martin is the new hire, correct?
No.
No?
That
Oh,
is
they're
not
both?
correct. Officer Martin and Officer Haynes have been working here for a little while.
And we just hired a new guy?
Yep, he's in the background process right now.
And we hired him at a higher rate, and that's what kind of prompted this?
That's correct.
Okay, that's how it came about.
So what rate did we hire him at?
Same
The new
rate.
hire was at step 6.
So they're all
So-
at step 6?
So we're asking our 2 officers right now to get bumped up to that step 6 as well.
Yeah.
So they'll be making the same as the new guy,
Right.
Who
if
has
and when he starts.
Who had experience?
the training, the
Yep.
experience, and
Okay, so we've got a motion and a second on that. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed? Motion carries all in favor. So,
The second part of what Tony talked about is the chief's wages.
Right.
And when we were going through the negotiations, one of the comments that was made is that he did not provide for a percentage increase on January 1st. His salary went all the way through to 2024. And we had discussed that maybe we would discuss it at the first of the year. So we're at the first of the year.
You mean public safety discussed that, not the city council? But that was, the memorandum of understanding was for his wage to be set at 89,000? And that it was not to change until December 31st, 2024. And we just approved that.
Well, everybody else in that union is getting 5% bump, got a 5% bump on the 1st of January.
But he knew
My
that.
question would be, why would we exclude him?
But he knew that. That was in the union negotiations. His rep,
Yep,
him,
I understand
they approved
that.
it.
Yeah.
so we did also agree to meet early with the unions to renegotiate all
Not
wages.
MinP. We've done it with
I thought we were doing all of
Ask Me and with Teamsters. I don't believe
No,
MinP has
Ask Me.
asked yet.
Asked me, April. We shouldn't even, we
But
shouldn't
I'm
even.
saying those 2 unions have asked, but I'm not aware of MinP asking.
I'm just saying, the memorandum of understanding was
Mark, I
agreed
understand the
to.
memorandum.
And I guess,
But we approved his salary at 89, right?
yes,
Right.
until December 31st, 2024. They agreed to it. I mean, we keep on doing these memorandum of understandings, and we have a union contract till December 31st, 2024. I understand that, maybe we should do, we spend a lot of time on those negotiations, and it seems like we can't change anything, but the employees are coming and asking for these.
Yeah, it's a real
We had
moving
discussed,
target.
I said we would discuss this on January, and so that's why I am bringing it up, not Jake.
But Chip accepted the offer.
Jake.
No, but I mean.
Oh, I don't know anything about
I
that.
don't even think we're there yet.
Oh, yeah, sorry, yep.
Okay, so we're not going to do anything with that at this point. I'm wondering if MINP is going to come back and want to jump into that negotiations.
I think the union's going to have to do it.
I think it's about time we start following our union contract. We keep on, sure, 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 and not me, though, no.
Okay, let's let that die
Move
for
on?
now.
Yeah.
Okay, next, Marcia, is your request for the MMUA report.
Well, I just wanted to make sure that the training was being done, and it really doesn't, it says what training they've done, but are all the employees current with their training now as of December 31st, 2023?
All of the employees attended this training. We're not doing it individually online. That's over.
So then they've covered all their training. Okay, thank you. And then I have another thing on the MMUA. I noticed that we had a bill for special SCBAs or whatever for the fire department. Does MMUA do the same training as we are paying
Fire Inc.
for the fire department? I'd like to see that if there's training that MMUA can do, we should be doing that because we have a contract that they got to cover the training. Why would we go out and spend additional monies on training for the fire department? When we're paying, what is it, Mike, 17,000, 15, 17? I can't remember what the contract was now.
So your question is twofold. What was the contract for MMUA? Was about 15,000 for this year. And the training that, which fire department training are you looking at? They do different training than what MMUA does. I can't answer that question.
But Mike Willett, when he was here, said they do training for fire departments. Not all of it, but some of it. And I just wanted to make sure that since we're paying them a contract to do training, that if MMUA can do the training under that contract, that's where we should be getting the training done.
And he also said, I believe, that he would have to amend that contract to include the fire department because it's different training.
I don't think he said he had to amend it, but.
Well, I don't know.
We can check. But I would like
But I know
that to
it's
be.
different.
I would like that to be looked into, that we're not double paying for something that.
No overlap, yeah.
The training, there is no overlap on it. And the training we get through MBFTE is, we're not charged for. We get reimbursed for it through the.
Well, it still comes out of tax dollars. Right?
No, it doesn't.
Or not?
No, but if MMUA could do some of the fire training, we wouldn't have to pay for it then.
No, we would have to pay for it through MMUA. Right now, we get it free through MBFTE.
The state pays for it. State of Minnesota pays for all that fire department training.
Okay, all right.
So
But
it'd
it's
be
gotta
additional
come from
cost
us.
to us, not less cost.
Okay.
But we write a check out for that training now, but we get reimbursed on the back end.
That's
So
correct,
it's
yep.
covered. But we don't see the reimbursement portion of it.
I see the paperwork.
Yes,
Yeah,
you do.
I see
We
the
get it.
paperwork.
The paperwork is filled out
I
every
just see
month.
the checks that you sign, but,
It's all good.
Yep.
okay. Employee leave control report. Who requested that? What's that about?
I did. I wanted to see the year-end leave report because that got away from us once before, and I just think it's a good thing that at the end of the year, we take a look at the leave report and what the accrual is.
So that's just for your information, and you got it? We're good. Okay. All right. Robin and Sonia, it's your turn.
Hello.
Hi, Sonia.
I guess I'm going to speak first. I'm just giving you a 30-day update on my continued research into the absentee ballot administration process. Couple things, I did confirm that the county must give a ballot to a Cross Lake voter if they present themselves at the courthouse to vote absentee or early, even if we're doing it here. There's still a polling place. However, by statute, the county must deliver accepted absentee and early voter ballots to Cross Lake for processing. We will need to confirm that with the county. I see it written in the statute, but a couple times when I've talked to the Secretary of State's office, they said something like, yes, you can work that out agreement with the county. Well, it doesn't look like an agreement to me. It looks like it shall be this way in the statute, but we'll just want to check, make sure.
Excuse me, are you saying that the county has to provide the ballots here so people can pick them up here?
No.
Oh.
If someone goes to the county and says, I'm here to vote early, they will take that ballot and put it in a box. They're not to be counted until after the polls close on Election Day, but those ballots should be brought here. Okay. Yeah. The county oversees UOCAVA ballots by statute, but I didn't realize that statute also says those ballots the accepted ballots will need to be brought to Cross Lake. Again, if the county, few people realize that Minnesota counties are not actually required to abide by party balance if they use their own employees to perform ballot board duties, which a lot of that first part of the process is done by county employees. They have no requirement to use party balance. Also for the UOCAVA ballots, the same thing, they do not need to use party balance if it's county employees doing that.
Is it your intention to use party balance here for everything we do here?
I think we have to.
Okay.
That's our whole reason.
But you're just saying that the county doesn't have to?
They do not have to.
But our intention is to make sure that we do that.
Yes.
Okay.
The county also has handled mailing absentee ballot applications in the past. The city can choose to do that starting with the August primary. If the county retains that responsibility, the return address by statute shall be City Hall's address. So that prevents them from having to physically transport the ballots back up here. Again, I want to confirm that too, make sure everybody's on the same page. And lastly, I was confused about how the absentee ballot is accepted or rejected. Statutes are laws, rules are issued to provide guidance to apply the law. Specifically, Statute 203B121 and the Secretary of State's Rule 8210.2450 did not seem to agree with each other. They both address when to accept or reject an absentee ballot. Ballot board members in some cases need to compare signatures on a voter's absentee application and then on the ballot envelope to determine if an envelope with its ballot is to be accepted or rejected. You can imagine this process is somewhat subjective, but that's a big reason why we want party balance for everything. The statute says in part, to accept the ballot if the voter's name and address on the signature envelope are the same as the information on the ballot application. But the rule says a signature is considered the voter's, even if it uses a signature mark on either or both documents. A ballot must be rejected under this subpart on the basis of the signature if the name signed is clearly a different name than the name of the voter as printed on the signature envelope. This is the only circumstance under which a ballot may be rejected on the basis of signature. That's what the rule says. The Minnesota Voters Alliance challenged that rule governing absentee ballots, and their case number A22-0111 was heard in the Minnesota Supreme Court this past May. So this next part is quoting from the MVA, the Minnesota Voters Alliance. The rule in question was actually established back in 2010. That year, 23,000 237 absentee ballots were cast in all of Minnesota. But in 2020, just 10 years later, that number jumped to 1.9 million ballots. So people, such as in the MVA, started paying attention to the absentee ballot verification rules and how the Secretary of State was interpreting them. Prior to the court's ruling, the current Secretary of State was interpreting key elements of the rule somewhat loosely. There are 6 reasons an absentee ballot might be rejected upon arrival, but only 2 that matter to this Supreme Court case. First, if the voter did not sign the signature envelope. Second, if the voter's ID number on the signature envelope does not match the ID number on the absentee ballot application. If the ID numbers don't match, the voter has one more chance for acceptance if the signature on the signature envelope matches the signature on the ballot application. The Minnesota Secretary of State argued that the 2 questions, did the voter sign the certificate on the envelope? And is there a signature on the envelope? He said those 2 are the same thing. In other words, any signature, even one showing a different name than on the ballot, met the legislative requirement. The Minnesota Supreme Court ultimately disagreed. The court ruled that the signature on a voter's certification envelope must belong to the person for whom the ballot is intended. If the signature on the signature envelope fairly represents the name on the envelope. So they did agree William Smith might sign his application, but on the ballot it might say Bill Smith. Well, reasonable people might look at that, it looks the same type of script. You'll say, yeah, that's Bill. So it leaves some subjectiveness up to the 2 party balanced ballot board people that they have to agree, yep, I believe that's the guy. In short, the law authorizes, this is all still from the MVA, in short, the law authorizes election judges to exercise their judgment as to whether the signature on the envelope contains the voter's filled out ballot is that of the person who filed a request that they be sent a blank absentee ballot. So why is all this important? Because party balance and transparency are key. Minnesota counties are exempt from party balance when they use their own employees to perform some very critical ballot board issues. Even before the new law changes that we talked about last month, Crow Wing County processes 60% of all of the county's ballots through early and absentee voting. 45% of our Cross Lake ballots are processed at the county. Cross Lake must commit to party balance for all of its absentee ballot board duties and enhance the integrity of our local elections through compliance with Minnesota statutes. I hope everybody here goes to get election judge training, preferably spends a little more time and gets absentee ballot board training. You can see how important it is to understand how laws are interpreted and implemented.
Sonia, thanks for the information, number 1, all your research, and number 2, where do you get that training, and do you have to pay for it?
The county provides that, and you do not have to pay for it. You have to sign up.
Yeah, Sonia, before you step away, if I could ask a couple of questions.
And I don't think it's scheduled yet, the training.
Oh.
Is it, Shar? No.
Okay, no, mine has nothing to do with training. I understand from reading through, I get the impression, and this would be probably more of a question for you, but that we need to have an in-house IS person.
You mean IT?
Information services, computer, okay. We don't have one, do we?
Well, that's not a statutory requirement that I'm aware
Well,
of.
I'm hearing it might be coming from the state level. I don't know. That's why I'm kind of putting.
Well, the
question to
statute
Jacob.
says that the county will, Deb said the county would assist, Deb and Tim said the county would assist making sure we have everything. It has to satisfy the Secretary of State requirements. You can't have probably crosslake.net. And I thought maybe this might even be in the works already because I saw your email changed. Does that have anything to do with it? Okay.
Yeah, we all have. second part of that is how do we, $16,000 is not going to cover the cost of this. And do we have to purchase the software that is necessary to cross-reference to the state? How do we, I'm not so sure the county is going to be willing to just hand it to us. That needs to be researched, okay? There's software when they come in to vote, when you come in to vote, they validate, have you voted anywhere else in the state of Minnesota? And that
Well, I
is
believe
validated
we
like that.
will get a machine and the assistive device and all of that for Election Day from the county like we've always done. The question, and I tried to get this answer for you, and I think I sent it all to all of you. I tried to get this answer, and Deb said she would be working with you. She did not give me an answer. But the statute says that the county auditor will provide a precinct with the machine if they have adopted the use of one. The county auditor will provide those things for any place authorized to take early votes. And the SVRS system does not require a special computer. What you have here should do that. SHAR is going to need training to access it, but it does not require a special or its own computer. You don't have to have a specially designated computer. I called the Secretary of State's office and got that clarified.
But there's two 46-day periods that we have to accept ballots. There's at least one Sunday in there, I know, where we have to provide for about 6 hours.
The 16,000 actually was our estimation if you had to pay one full-time person, because we assume that there's going to be one in the office, Shar or Cheryl, there'll be one person here, so, and you have to have two. So if you had to pay one person for the March primary, which we didn't end up, we couldn't get everything done for that. But that 16,000 includes also 46. We figured about 5,000 and change per election.
There's several nights involved during the day and evening, so you'd have to have more than one person, I would think. I mean, that'd be long days. And
well, it's just hours. We were counting hours. So it's about $5,200.
I think there's answers. Both need to give us more before we finalize this. I don't know.
They're working on it. I mean, there's bugs that they got to work out of it.
They're not going to give me that answer. They told me they're working.
I thought we were approving tonight.
No.
They're not going to give me that answer. They're going to, you have to talk to them.
Okay.
Yeah.
I would have to talk to who? So I know.
Deb Erickson.
Deb Erickson. Okay.
Good evening. I'm Robin Sylvester. I live at 12888 County Road 103 here in Cross Lake. Sonia just did a delightful job answering quite a few of my updates, and I'm really looking towards Shar to help us fill in the gaps. We did send off a sample, just kind of a summary of the data that we provided you at the last meeting. I have extras here in case you would like another copy. So I was just going to just overview those on the second page of this document, the outstanding items. Outstanding items are listed as we need a cost estimate. Again, when we came here a month ago, the 16,000 is an estimate. And when Deb Erickson actually was speaking to the county commissioners, I believe she said it was about 5,000 per election as well. So a March primary, an August primary, and November. So she kind of concurred with that. Again, we were a shot in the dark because we don't know what you all have for staff. Because if you do have staff folks that are able to accept a ballot, other than the early voting, the absentee ballots are just coming in through mail or Dropbox. So again, it was purely an estimate, but I'd look for Shar for you to continue to work with Deb on what is the cost on our the equipment that you're asking about, verifying, because what we're getting is really about citizens doing research, right? We don't have the privy or the information that you as a city employee or the county would have. So looking for Shar to really confirm what that equipment costs would be, if anything at all. The ballot printing, so we're not sure. These are just things that we were thinking about. Who's going to print the ballots? Who has the funding to print the ballots? I believe it's still the county, but confirming that would be really super helpful for the city to do. Also, election judge party balance. The one additional staff that we had in the 16,000 was actually, if Char doesn't have somebody to support her side by side during the election season, we were thinking, okay, an election judge costs $15 an hour. We'd need an election judge during the open hours on the city for the 45 days before actually all 3 elections were included in there. So the 15,000 included, again, the March.
Robin, can it be a volunteer?
And actually, election judges can choose not to get paid.
Okay.
They can choose to volunteer their time, yes. Yep. There was another component that's in our outstanding questions, and I'm sure, Char, you're getting informed on this, is really about the training. The statute requires, and the Secretary of State did confirm that there's training that's required, and the county is responsible. Secretary of State said that county is responsible for providing that training to Char. And technology, again, the question about making sure that the systems are compatible with SVRS, that's the state voter registration system. And again, county is the key for Char to be successful there as well. One topic on the open items were process and procedures. Again, what we talked about a month ago, or Sonia addressed, is my passion and career has been in internal controls and safeguarding taxpayer dollars and safeguarding our cybersecurity and our systems, making sure that Char and the team has great processes and procedures tied up to ensure internal controls and sound controls for Char and protecting everybody else that are handing the ballots as well. What we need to do to prepare for August, though, we need to back up. What is the date that we actually need to have you all make a decision if we're going to go or no go for the primary in August? To my best guess, Char, and again, it's not my expertise. When I looked at the calendar, looked at the 45, looked at the statute 203B-081, subdivision 6 and 7, our estimate, just our estimate, is May 7th, is the 14 weeks prior to the primary election. We'll need you to just confirm that with Deb, but backing into May 7th, if this board needs to make a decision, I would highly recommend that we have as much detail as we can to you by the March meeting. So if you have questions between March and April, I would suggest is your hard deadline to make a resolution. If, and of course, Char, you find out that you need to move it up, you need to have it by March, whatever that date is. Certainly look for you to confirm, to let the council know when they absolutely have to make this decision. That is basically my update, and appreciate the collaboration. Thanks.
Sure. I think in order for this to work at all, Char and staff. What staff? I have no staff.
Yeah.
It's Char, period.
Well, Char, we budgeted for an assistant.
Okay, but we don't have anyone. We don't have a job description. We don't, and that's a shared person between Char and planning and zoning, which planning and zoning doesn't exist right now. That's a topic under Mike to talk about. This packet of information I went to get, I am not opposed to this, but I do not see this happening this year. This was the 2022 Minnesota Absentee Voting Administration Guide. This is what Char would be responsible for, along with her full-time job. And yes, there's people that could help, there's volunteers that are willing to, participate, but the bottom line is the city clerk is responsible for it.
Char.
I am responsible.
Char.
No matter how many helpers, no matter how many volunteers I have, I am responsible for it. If you guys take it on, it's on me.
Char, trust me, well, trust us when we say that there is no way that we're going to lay that on you without any additional information, if it happens at all, any additional help. So, don't panic, honestly, we wouldn't do that to you. You already work hard enough, so. I think we all can agree with that.
Yeah, I totally agree.
Yeah, so,
It's
But
not a
at the
matter.
same token, I agree, but we're not actively doing anything right now.
right, yeah.
You know, so
We
need to
need,
do
we
something.
need the questions
Pam, come on
answered
up.
and know exactly where we're at on it. And,
The basic thing we need is staff.
and in fact, the city clerk is responsible for elections. That's part of your job description, so.
I am, but I'm not right now in charge of absentee ballot boards in that.
But you used to do it, right? Before the
Have
county.
an absentee ballot board? No.
Didn't you take care of absentee ballots prior to the county taking it over?
Back in 2004, 2006?
Well, I'm
yeah.
just saying.
It was
Okay.
different then, though.
Yeah.
It was different.
Okay.
I would like, Pam Graves, 14131 Sugarloaf Road, Cross Lake. I'd like to defer first to Kathy Allen, who submitted a letter.
We have it here, we're going to read it.
Kathy?
Yeah. I just wanted to say that I want to answer Aaron's question about payment. It's been a while since I was an election judge, but I remember that I got paid mileage for driving to training, the time I was at my training, and the mileage back. So that was paid by the county. But if we take it over, is that going to be paid by the city? And I was looking through the statutes and everything else, and it says 3 minimum hours for absentee ballot board people. So there isn't anybody there to help her out unless she calls in the ballot board. In those 19 days before the election, you have to have the ballot board meet multiple times. She has 3 days. Every 3 days, we get ballots to look through. So I think we really need to step back and look at this. And I know that there are people that may or may not like the election laws, but nothing will change when Cross Lake takes it over. We have to follow everything the state does, period. We don't have we can't do that. If you don't like the law, talk to your elected officials in St. Paul and change it. But right now, I think it's absolutely ridiculous for us to get into something that we have no money for. We're not sure how to do it. Give us some time. Let's revisit this. Let's work on it and come back in 2026.
Okay, thanks, Kathy.
Thank you, Kathy. I want to thank Robin and Sonia for bringing this topic up. I think nobody should be unaware of what it takes to do a valid, safe, private election of people that are managing your life. I want to go back 30 days. I believe, Aaron, you said we might be a little bit early in proposing a resolution to take this on. But in fact, that resolution was presented to the Brainerd, our commissioners, and they sent it on to the Secretary of State to evaluate our resolution. So it wasn't just an intent to think about a placeholder, but they actually are evaluating it. I would like to wait for the Secretary of State to come back and be reasonable and say, is this a reasonable resolution? Do you have the things in place? So as much work as you've done investigating, trying to nail it down, have they determined the validity of the resolution that went through so that we can say, do we have the things in place? One of the first things we need in place is a full-time clerk that maybe has some time on his or her hands to assimilate and accomplish this, because as an election judge for probably 20 years now, it is paramount on the day of election to make sure that we arrive at 5:30, 6 o'clock in the morning, and that we have all the things in place that we need and the number of ballots that we need in place, so that if you show up to vote in person, we have a ballot for you that is privately put in and counted without me knowing what you voted for or how you voted. But the laws of the land right now say that we have to take that information and go with whatever our city votes on. So right now, assuming absentee ballots that would require a whole different process change, that would require new return addresses, where would those ballots go if I sign up for one? Would it go to a ballot box that's secured and can't be taken away? Right now, the county has those in place and doesn't cost us anything else to manage it that way. They're not doing anything behind our backs. We would have to do a lot of work to assume that. I started to look through the 120-page absentee. I've never been an absentee ballot person, but I know that the 10 days before the election, Shar is busy as all heck. Okay, she's arranging schedules, she's making sure that we have all the ballot voting boxes for you so that you can come in here. She's making sure that we have the right number of poll pads so that when you come in to register and you say, Sandy, I'm here to register today, and you say, yep, you are registered, here's your little cheat sheet, your receipt, you can get a ballot and you can go vote. And we need to make sure all that still works. And you're saying, what's more important is to take her away from making sure that all that is done correctly so that we can start counting absentee ballots that are going to be done by the county for us and have been done reasonably. And as far as I know, there's no data to show they've lost any ballots, duplicated any ballots, and not been able to give us that information if we've asked for it. And I know that was one of your questions at the beginning, was getting those numbers back again. But I would say if it's not terribly broken, let's not break something by August and then apologize later. Thank you.
Thanks, Pam. Well, we signed a resolution of intent, I believe, to go to the commission. That's, I believe, what it was. Now, I think, Pam, you said that the Secretary of State's got it and they're...
You went the next day to the commission and took it to them.
Right.
And they had to hand it off to the Secretary of
Okay.
State.
So I'm not sure what all that means. Our intent was to just, because there was a deadline, that there wasn't a deadline, but we were told there was a deadline, that we had to rush it down there and do that. So we did it. What I've kind of tasked Robin and Sonia with is you guys got to figure this out and bring it and see if it's going to work. We've got 14 weeks prior to the primary in August to make sure that that happens. And if it doesn't work, it's going to automatically go back to the county, I would assume.
Well, thank you for the volunteer work, but I think the issue is whether the city can manage the absentee ballot process, not whether the volunteers of the city can manage an absentee ballot process.
Yeah, no question. I mean,
So that, the
that's
question
clear.
should be very quickly, city administrator, city clerk, do we have the bandwidth to take on a process change like this and secure all the devices and the network bandwidth to do what we need to do to make sure, I mean, it's beautiful in the morning, we come up and I can tell immediately on election day, Sandy, hate to say it, but you have a red AB by your name. That means you already voted absentee. You voted, thank you. Thank you for voting. You can't do it twice.
Why is she singling me out?
Because I can say your first name really well.
Yeah.
So,
And Dave's really
and I
hard to
can't,
say,
and
and
I pick,
I'm
I
appreciative
can't
of
pick
that.
on the mayor, I'm sorry. So I think the city needs to determine, do you have the bandwidth to take on this whole new process and do it so well that there are no questions in August about those numbers? Because the state, I love the Minnesota election process. I've gone to other states and looked at theirs, and I don't like theirs as much as ours. We have checks and balances, and it works really well, and I wouldn't want to break something that isn't broken.
Well, Pam, as far as I know, this is an exploratory situation. So I
Not
mean,
when it goes up to the Secretary of State. That word intent, that one word there, is lost in the whole resolution that, by the way, was signed on the back page that said it was resolved on the 11th of December as a done deal, and that's what was sent off to the commission, to the county.
Well, we'll wait and see what our response is and go from there.
Council, is it okay if we have Jacob go through and look at some of the legality things that we need to do to, a checkbox, whatever you want to call it?
Yeah.
Okay.
I like the idea of taking time, take time out of the issue, take the time to say, can we do this well? And if so, when should we do it? Instead of, okay, we missed the first one, let's get to the second one. Let's can't do the second one, let's do the third one.
Yeah,
No,
I don't disagree with you at all on that, Pam. I hate rushing into anything, and that's kind of where I leave it.
So thank
with
you,
those
because
two
I
with
thought one of the next steps was to create a group to look at this, to say, what do we have for the bandwidth to do this well? And I haven't heard anything come up about that.
Okay.
So thank you again.
Yep, thank you.
Jacob?
Go ahead, Robin, come on up.
Thank you. I concur. We don't want to do anything that's going to jeopardize the trust, transparency in our elections. Someone had mentioned a town hall. Sonia and I are eager, right? We're all volunteers, but we're passionate about this. We'd love to have a community group come together. This is a nonpartisan issue. This is about all of us. So I don't know how to form that. I don't know how to connect, how we can connect, but certainly after the meeting, if people want to chat for a little bit, happy to do that. But if there's a town hall opportunity too, we'd love to participate.
Well, and I was going to announce that. I haven't done that yet, but.
I think I've been calling you Jacob, but it's not, is it?
Jordan.
Jordan. I'm sorry, Jordan.
No, not at all.
I apologize.
The new guy, yeah, all right.
Got the J part right, I guess. If you have something to say, go ahead.
And I was just going to mention that, yes, election law is very dense and nuanced. So, this is obviously my first hearing here, so if there's something specific that you want some assistance on there, I mean, it will take some work. It will take a lot of time to see, because it's so interrelated, right? Each group is working in collaboration with, the city and the county. And so there are these processes that are baked into the statute, and so once you start changing, modifying it, there is a lot of room for confusion.
I want to know what kind of equipment is necessary. I want to know if, such as, do we have to have an in-house IT in case something goes wrong? Which I know we do not need on a regular vote.
I think Shar can answer those questions. I don't know that we have to hire an attorney to do it. I don't.
I'm just
To go
not trying
through
to
all
put
the
her
question
deeper into this than I have to.
Well, during the election day, there is no internet connection that is required because nothing is hooked up to the internet. That if it went down, we would not be able to conduct the election. That is not an issue.
But I'm hearing for the absentee that there is, possibly is. Because I got two different answers.
I mean, conducting the absentee is also requiring us to register voters.
Yeah.
I mean, that's
a lot.
That's more
Yeah.
than just running the election on election day.
Why don't we just get our questions answered, the ones that they need, and look at it further. I mean, we can't be sitting here all night talking elections.
Have Robin, have Shar talk with Deb Erickson. Is that what you mean?
Yeah, just get our questions answered. I think there was some questions that wasn't taking notes, sorry.
We're going to have a town hall meeting. We'll see how this goes, but I just want to hear from all sides of this. I don't want anything to happen under the cuff. So I actually scheduled one for February 6th at 5:30. It's a Tuesday at Moonlight Bay. So just for everybody to come and do more of what we're doing right now. So.
Thank you.
Can I just add one more thing? Sending the letter of intent to the secretary, to the county, only notifies them that we're looking at this. And then they set up the county to start contacting you and making sure you do have things in place. Nothing happens if you don't have the SVRS capability. You have to have someone trained to use the SVRS. None of this will happen until all those things are checked off through the county for representing the Secretary of State.
So we're not inadvertently committed to something.
No, because you can't do this in a day.
Right, okay.
So you have to give a resolution of intent. That's the procedure. That's how you start. And then they will look into it and make sure you have all the pieces.
Pam, does that make you feel better?
Right, just these, because then I could put it to bed. Can you talk with Deb Erickson on that?
By the way, we're both election judges.
Yes, we are. We work together.
And we are, I'm certified through this summer, but not through the August election, because they do require you to go through training for elections, and it's good for a certain period of time, but that does not include absentee ballots, because most of the time, for Crow Wing County. That is done by the county, so they have not been covering that at this point.
No, I just wanted you to be
I know.
reassured that we're not, we're not already, we're not already committed, that we've.
Well, we've asked the question of the state for our intent, and I feel like we haven't heard an answer back yet. And yet we've had Christmas and New Year's, and Deb was on vacation because I tried reaching her too, and.
They don't answer.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, we're not even asking them a question. We just notified them, hey, we're looking at this, and they say, okay, work with the county, let us know
Right.
when you're ready.
So this is being worked on sort of like a drum beat that gets louder and louder, when in fact, we need to sit back and say, we would like to pursue this. We'd like to question this. The huge increase in absentee ballots is because the state law changed and made it easier. Instead of having to have a reason for claiming an absentee ballot, now you could claim an absentee ballot without having a reason. So the numbers aren't going up because of lack of transparency or anything, it's because state law changed. But we still need to wait to hear back from someone to say, do we have the capability of doing this? Because we need to secure the ballots that come in, make sure they don't get relocated or removed or added to. We need to make sure we register new voters. We need to make sure that we can count those beforehand with the same people who are going to be really, really busy on Election Day Tuesday. If you have to be there all day Saturday, part of Sunday, and Monday through 6 p.m. or 8 p.m. something, to have absentees come in beforehand. So your same small group of people that might be available Tuesday might be occupied. And that's probably why a lot of people don't do this, because it's tough to accomplish.
Well, you do know you can open all those 19 days in advance. So it used to be you had to wait till polls closed, and then you were scrambling to do it. All that's going to be done ahead of time.
Shar, do you mind talking to Deb Erickson on those questions, please, and getting us the answers, and maybe that'll solve the problem?
Okay.
Please?
Come on up.
Just
I'm John Sylvester, 12888 County Road 103 here in Cross Lake. I am ballot board trained. I've taken all the classes. I've done it all. Worked in 2022, and I'm 22 years retired military officer, looking for something to do, and this is probably the best thing I could possibly ever think of doing, is to help my community in an election, especially when there is so much distrust on both sides. I guess I have personal experience in this, and to say that there's no problems in our election system is totally naive. I door knocked 5,600 plus doors in 2022. We ran across people that were absolutely, totally mystified that they received many, many, many ballots in the mail. We had affidavits we turned over to the county with this. We door knocked empty lots. How do you vote from an empty lot? I witnessed that. I have that experience. I'm willing to volunteer day and night from today until the end of the election.
Thank you, John.
I will get a cot and I'll sleep in your office, but we'll get it done.
Thank you, John. Okay, let's
move on.
This is going to be a process to see if we're going to do it or not. It's
Can I-
obvious,
Can I
so.
make a motion that Shar answers these outstanding items as best she can with any assistance from the county or whatever, these outstanding items on this sheet that need to be addressed?
I'll second that.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries, all in favor. I wish you'd work on a job description for somebody there too, Shar, so we don't have to rely on that.
I gave that job description to Susan.
Oh, you did, okay.
I don't know where it's at. Where is it at?
Did we see it? Did she send it to us?
Yes.
Okay.
It went to AFSMI. I was supposed to go to AFSMI.
How
Where
long
is it
ago
at?
did you do that? How long ago?
After you guys saw the job description. That was
2 weeks
November?
Oh, okay.
Well, she probably submitted it to the union.
Anyway, let's cut this short for this meeting. Again, February 6th at 5:30 at Moonlight Bay. We'll pick this up again, and we'll wrestle with it for a month or something and see where it goes. Maybe it'll die. Maybe it'll get some traction. I don't know. But let's put it to sleep for tonight.
Me too.
All righty, thank you all. Okay,
You're on 5A right now?
E6, huh? Phil, lighting update?
This is for information. I'll go over it unless you want to take it as information, but. Okay. So because Pat came up earlier, I'm going to go a little bit deeper, but I'm going to try and talk fast. Last month, we went over the aesthetics numbers with you, and you've directed us to go with a simple light pole, similar to MnDOT. You told us to get rid of the hardscape. We've always kept cost in there for a roundabout center, and then we have a lighting adjustment, obviously. So the purpose of this was just to update you that we went forward and looked at the lighting aspect of it. We recognize that the city and the direction we received was to be respectful of the campground, of the setting that is Cross Lake, and try and make sure that the lighting was kind of dark sky sensitive, if you will. So I guess I'm happy to report a couple of things. We're looking at the light that Grandview Lodge had with the banner arms, with the flag holder, with the outlet. 30-foot height instead of 40. The one at Grandview is 40-foot tall. These are 30-foot tall. We believe the lower means less likelihood of light pollution. We've also gone ahead and researched, and the Dark Sky Association recommends a 3,000 K color lamp instead of a 4,000 K. In my world, that's just how you go to the hardware store, and it's the daylight bulb or it's the warm light bulb. We're talking the warm light bulb. So going that route, though, we've done a lot of good towards capturing the light, not polluting. It requires 2 additional lights instead of 12. It's now 14. But the county has agreed to say that even though you could do it with 12 with the standard MnDOT light, we would call 14 the base. So we're paying the upcharge on 14 lights. That's the banner arms, that's the flag holder, that's the outlet. So the question raised by Pat was, where do we sit in our budget? We got rid of, we had about $415,000 in enhancements last month. We got rid of the hardscape. We reduced the lighting from $212,000 to about $50,000. And we keep the roundabout. So we've reduced that dramatically. In November, Tim provided the city with the draft cost participation of what the cost would be at that time. And with all the enhancements in there and your other cost after the grants were all applied, the city was looking at about $630,000 total. You budgeted $750,000, $750,000. With this, assuming we keep the market as it is, the construction market, the cost of the goods and stuff, that number is about $350,000 is what we estimate. So that's the direction we're going in the design.
Perfect.
Well, Pat, we might have some money for that monument now.
And Tim is going to be here in February next month to with the cost participation agreement, hoping to get your action.
Can I ask a question? It's not on, or maybe Tim is going to address it, the turn lane by the school.
The next one? Yeah. Tim's going to address that.
Tim.
And actually Mike, I think, so.
Come on, Doug.
I'm done. Thank you.
Thanks, Phil. Good news.
Hello, Mike O'Connell, 34088 White Oak Drive. I'm a member of board directors of the Lake Foundation. It was brought to our attention through CCS, Cross Lake Community School, about the northbound lane on 66 and how that affects the school with its deliveries of its food for the students and materials and such. I first want to say that just because we got introduced to that issue within the last week and a half, 2 weeks ago, it's been a pleasure to work with Tim and Phil and turn this around in such a quick manner. They've been excellent to work with. We've had numerous meetings, conversations to try to look at what are the issues and solutions that could be resolved. As we looked into this issue, just to give some area here in perspective, as some of this stuff has come in yet today, this morning and past when the agenda was done. So I'm going to give everything I have here just for transparency. I'm just the messenger on behalf of CCS and Lake Foundation to Shar so she can provide it all to you as a part of the minutes. But this would be Swan Drive and 66 running north. Currently, we have, let's see if we have our, this is where the new sidewalk would be with the green space, I believe, is where the boulevard would be. We currently have where the parking shoulder lane is, the delivery coming into the lunchroom and everything to CCS, right into this area here, straight off. And when they made the boulevard adaptions of what the plan has been, they've removed that area. So we've been working with Tim Bray and the county and Phil Martin and the city engineer of how can we satisfy, one, the initial question of delivery, because it's a semi-truck that has to deliver the food. I have a letter here from Cisco and a couple other letters from Annette Klein, who is the CCS director, and Mike Stone and Richard Eide, who are board members and business owners along 66 that are aware of deliveries of semi-trucks and such, unlike myself. So just bringing this to the attention of, has this been a monumentous project in a short window, from learning that we're probably putting a 5-year project in 2 years with funding and doing a great job at it. We just didn't want to be looking backwards and say, yes, it's 11th hour, but what is our best option that we could do that would work with the county, be in the best interest of the city of Cross Lake, and also satisfy not only the potential of the school delivery, but also the northbound traffic, safety, congestion on the traffic lane by potentially alleviating a turn lane coming into the school along with coming into the post office. That is pretty frequent. So I've just highlighted this area to picture it as the corner of Swan and 66, where it would be a no parking like the rest of the boulevard would be going north. However, it'd be a short-term loading zone just for the loading of the school lunches, and then past this, going into that area, would provide an opportunity that we could, if we did it that way, you would then create a turning lane that could go, this is a better map, that's not, a turning lane into the school parking lot for kid drop-off and pickup, also with a turning lane into the post office that is year-round daily use that gets congested number of times. So safely and congested-wise, logically, take that out of the traffic lane and then go back from that to what Tim Bray and everybody has put together with the boulevard. The reason we believe that this is the best option, not the only option, but the best option, is it keeps the traffic on there, that we have the ability to donate our land. We wouldn't have additional cost. We have enough of buffer there. The school, Lake Foundation would be willing to donate the land to make this possible, that the county and the city wouldn't have to buy our land from us. We want to make it a win for the county, the city, the school, and the post office, so we don't look back on it. I know that this is just an overhead view of what's been brought to our attention this last week. So what we're asking for is the ability to have city support, city council support, to continue to explore all the options and come to a resolution that works for the county and Tim and the city itself.
So Mike, with your drawing there, the sidewalk would then turn and come inside of your turning lane?
Yeah, similar to that, yep. So how that sidewalk, is coming out this way, that we would give the land so we could have the sidewalk on our land, and we'd give an easement or expand the road right away and just give it to you guys. to create it with the county and the city.
And
then
Tim
once we're-
said that's possible? I mean, it's workable?
Potentially, and I don't want to put words in his mouth. We're willing to explore it and work together on it. It's a potential option. There may be more costs or not more costs, but we're willing to donate our land and work with it to make it what we feel is the best potential. I'll also, Tim has, like I said, worked really well over the last 2 weeks with us, that an option that he is better suited to present to the city is, one solution that they provided is potentially, I gotta find the one that shows the truck on there. Here, this one here. So instead of having it how we're proposing, an option they can continue to the way that has been designed, and instead make I believe this is the truck showing a length of an 18-wheeler being delivered on Swan Drive instead of 66. Then we would have to create additional sidewalk access. Yes, it'd be farther for the delivery person. That's not the end of the world. You'll read it in Net Claims and Cisco's. It's an inconvenience, but when we looked at this and started exploring it, we thought that there's better benefit off of 66 to have a turning lane in that portion because of the post office, the school, lack of control of deliveries, and it's what's been existing since the school's been there, us, that it could help benefit everyone.
So during parent pickup at the school, that backs up there, doesn't it?
Yes, and I believe it's anywhere from 7 minutes to 15 minutes, depends. Tim has asked Annette Klein to work on staggering pickup. She wrote in her response letter about what can and can't be done, but they are willing to work. Everybody's willing to work with each other. But I don't have any kids, so I don't know the time frame for pickup and drop off.
Look at that smile on his face, huh?
So is this possible, Tim? Have you looked at it?
Yeah, I can present next.
Yeah, okay.
Okay.
Well, we get your point, Mike.
Okay,
See
thank you.
what Tim has to say.
Appreciate
Thanks
it.
a lot.
Mike, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mike. And I just want to say, we've been working together for really since really last week. There's been a lot of eyeballs on this, both with the Lakes Foundation, the school, and then our office has been going pretty nuts on it. We have 5 professional engineers, and we all spent several hours over this since Friday, and then again over the next, over the weekend we talked about it. So when we initially met, I think it was Thursday, we finally got to do a Zoom meeting where we got to see these graphics. And at the time, we were really focused on, or the Lakes Foundation was mainly focused on perpetuating the delivery of, stuff for the cafeteria. And currently, the truck does stop in the parking lane, the 10-foot wide parking lane that exists right there. And we feel that we have found a solution for that. We're opposing putting this turn lane, or it's not a turn lane, it's this pull-in in front of and perpetuating where it is. We feel that we have found another solution on Swan Drive. And I refer you to, there's the handouts here, and Mike, it's probably better that I just point to this, but.
Yep.
So just to run you through this, rather than being on 66, we propose the extension of this area. So this turn lane has always been there from, about the time that we learned that the Loon Center was going to move to its new area, we thought that this turn lane really needed to be in there. And so we put that in there, but from this area on, it was back to being narrow again. And so when we started to talk about alternatives for the 66 pull-in to perpetuate the deliveries, we thought we would utilize this area. It's on the minor road. It provides an opportunity for the driver to get into the sidewalk network that exists there. And it also provides an opportunity maybe for some parents to utilize this area for pickup and other things too. So our proposal, rather than doing it on 66 for the deliveries, is this. We feel it removes that conflict and some of the changes that we would, and cost changes we may incur with it on the main line. And so this is our proposal.
So Tim, a question for you. Is Swan Drive scheduled to be reconstructed during this project?
We would propose that the reconstruction basically goes up to the entrance under this proposal to the entrance to the school. I'm not particularly on the north side, but there may be some opportunities down here to salvage this and keep this about the same.
But my question is, prior to this coming up, was that going to have reconstruction or is that going to be untouched? I don't recall Swan being discussed.
It was going to, part of it was, there's an existing drainage problem and that's witnessed by the terrible pavement there. We've been struggling with that for years. We do also have some improvements for storm sewer. We have some work to do in these areas. So we are always at least going up to this point. And so the proposal is to provide that truck delivery area by extending it out, at least on the north side. I'm not sure if we would have to totally reconstruct this or not.
So my question with that though is the reconstruction of the additional portion of that, is that much less than doing it on 66? Or do you feel like doing it on the smaller road is just better to get it
We
off
believe
of
that the trade-offs are the best to have this potential conflict off of 66 like we have been talking about since May or more when we got direction from the city council and the board.
And you don't think the benefit to the post office and that additional pickup traffic or anything
Well, I want
is?
to, that's a good point, and I do want to address that. And I will tell you, this is a very dynamic situation. I to the ad nauseum to my staff, I go into their office, hey, what do you think about this? We're hearing ideas, and I will guarantee that we are talking about this stuff. Our initial meeting, we said, no, you got to figure it out on your own property. But even despite doing that, we went back and found this solution. And so we're continuing to.
I just know that when I witnessed the parent pickup portion of that, they're backed up on the road right now.
Yeah, let me address that. So I was talking, it's very dynamic. So even as late as this afternoon, we got to thinking about the request for a turn lane. And so initially when we started the conversation on Thursday with the group at the Lakes Foundation and the school, it was primarily on that. But it then did start talking about, well, there is some backups, and we kind of knew that too with parent pickup. Let me just draw a quick distinction between a turn lane and the lane that's out there right now. It's a 10-foot wide parking lane. That is not the proper width of a turn lane. The proper width of a turn lane is between 14 and 15 feet. So if you think about, in the proposal that they talked about, maintains the curb and gutter line where it is, so it's not any closer or farther away from their property. But if we have to widen that out for a true turn lane and we have to build the state aid standard, they will not let us build it, it's pushing out past that curb line 5 feet, and then we're building our 8-foot sidewalk on top of that. And so, or beyond that. And although the foundation is willing to give up the land, there's much more to be considered than that. There's some very sensitive utilities under there that we feel might be disturbed. We might have to lower them or disturb them in another way. We found a 6-inch gas line. I think Tremolo has some major lines through there too. So we're concerned about pushing out any further beyond that curb line. I think initially the 10-foot we thought would fit in there, but now we're looking into a true turn lane is going to have impacts, particularly in this area here.
I would hate to see after it's all done that we continue to have issues with the parents picking up.
Right.
You know?
So schools traditionally have challenges with this. I think when they design these schools, they think they know how the parents and the mothers and fathers are going to pick up their kids, and inevitably they don't do it that way. And so a lot of these schools, Eagleville is one of them, the elementary school and the middle school at Forest View, always are back tinkering with how parent pickup is. And how we've addressed those in the past, and I'm most familiar with Eagle View, is that we asked the administration to look at different ways to run their operation first. So at Eagle View, it backs into the turn lane on County Road 11, and we helped them stripe their parking lot. The administration talked about different pickup times and things like that. So some internal changes. It sounds like there's some limit because it's a small school and that there's families have multiple grade levels.
But
altering
we
the
got the
times
post
might be
office
better.
and the school, you know, so we got two elements there that.
Yeah.
I just
And-
hope it's not a problem when it's
Well,
done.
Tim,
And Tremolo,
did
yeah.
you talk to Annette about the viability of using, you know, this extra space on the other sheet, you know, for student pickup? You know?
I'm
No,
sorry.
and on the other sheet,
On Swan.
The big one.
Swan.
No.
On Swan.
No, so we have not met with Annette since our initial meeting, and we came up with this over the last couple of days. Like I'm saying, it's very dynamic.
Because that almost seems like it'd be safer, you know, than having the lineup on 66, I don't know.
Okay.
So again, we've been working around nonstop on this. So this came in at 2:40 from Annette, saying that the Swan Drive option could possibly help with the deliveries, but it wouldn't eliminate congestions with bear pickup, especially in drop-off. Open to look at different options, however, she is not sure that Swan Drive would be the right place for parents and/or buses for the 20-25 minutes, feels that it's probably unsafe.
Okay.
So, and I'll give this to Shar. So I think you guys we're all on board on this, like, we wish we weren't at this meeting at home with our families. But, like you guys are hinting at is, yes, we're in the 11th hour looking at this, but it's better to look at it now, and if there is a solution that, not only for student pickup and drop-off, but for the post office, keeping congestion off of the northbound traffic lane.
Right.
And I don't know what the rules are, I will divert to Tim, like, even if it is just continue to be the shoulder and not a turn lane, I don't know if that's even allowed, but there's safety to keep the traffic off of.
Well, and the school is willing to give up property, and you're not limiting how much, so you could, to me, it seems like you could go 30 feet back.
Well, my point is the utilities and some of
Yeah, the
those
utilities.
other things that, I'm not absolutely positive that they'll be impacted, but we did look at, some of it initially, and just the comments was this could be very expensive. And I would just encourage the city to continue, or the city, but the school to look at different ways for operating. At Eagle View, for example, they were loading buses in the back, and the parent pickup was in the front. And those they can do some things in their own operation, I feel, to cut down that congestion that may happen there.
Yeah, okay.
So,
Yeah, well, I can't help but look at it, not only the school, but the communications and the post office and whatever, the pickup.
I understand.
It's a busy place at times.
I understand.
Okay.
Any other questions?
No,
Nope.
just keep working on it.
Well, let me give you.
I say, we have to kinda come up with
He kept
that.
saying the 11th hour.
Say, do we have to come up with a
We kept saying the 11th
recommendation?
hour, and so keep working on it. It's a little,
Yeah.
there's a little more difficult. We had intended to submit our plans. We have people probably working at this hour right now, and Phil can verify, that to get our plans in by this Friday. That was our intent. And it probably will spill into next week.
Can Swan Drive handle a heavy truck like that? Right? Or is it built for that?
Yeah, I can't speak to that, but if it's, we can make sure there's some pavement there.
Well, it's worth a ask.
So,
Well, you know.
I just want to, I'd love to work on it but we can't. We are on a tight timeline, and we have, in March, we're planning to let it. I'm hoping it's an early spring. Pat stood up here and said how important it is. We want to get started, and we don't want to endure any delays either. So we're concerned about a little bit of that too.
Yeah, appreciate it. Yeah, and so the same as the school or the Lake Foundation at least as well. We're on board with everything Pat's saying and the community and not trying to create any delay moving forward. As we're learning that we saved money in certain areas there from the city and we are willing to give up the land as the Lake Foundation and the property owner, we'd also be open to look at, understand what those potential costs are of those utility elements, and if they had to be moved in and we had to give easements, and how we could work together to also offset that, if that's possible. I don't know that answer, but I unfortunately was the messenger to bring it to the council and asked by Kathy Foss, the director of CCS Food, that when they brought this to our attention, they were unaware that this was even a part of the project. Every time they were paying attention, they thought it was about the roundabout, not the boulevard coming up. So again, on behalf of the Lake Foundation and CCS, sorry we're even discussing this. Thank you for your time.
Thanks, Mike.
So they're looking for a decision tonight?
Yeah.
I would just soon they look into it a little deeper myself.
We don't have much time.
Just trying to get some clear direction. Right now, we feel that the loading zone on Swan Drive is a viable option to replace the loading zone. How are you feeling about that? We're 1 week away from getting the plans put together.
I would like to see it in the safest place, which is obviously not on 66.
Yeah, there's no question about that. I just look at what's going to happen when the parents are picking up and they're stopped blocking traffic going into the school.
Okay.
Because, I mean, they stop. Right now, they stop. And they pull into the shoulder's not going to be there.
Okay, so we'll proceed with the loading zone on Swan, and I will go back and just take a look at what that, and quantify that. I appreciate the Lake Foundation, willing, coming with money to help with the solution, but we don't know what that is.
Yeah, they'll have to wheel the food a little farther on the sidewalk and make an accommodation there, but I would be concerned about
I'll make a motion that we proceed with the pull-in for deliveries on Swan Drive.
I'll second that.
It's a horse apiece at this point. It's a horse apiece. You got pros and you got cons on both sides. Right. At least we're solving a problem.
Yeah, I feel like we have to move forward.
That's the only option right now.
Right.
And you don't want to leave any lane or anything for the parent pickup portion of that at the
I
school?
will commit to looking at that. So, a right turn lane is wider, and I think when we all were talking about it, even we were thinking 10-foot lane, but to build a true turn lane, we are going to have some impacts that we haven't fully understood yet. So
Right,
I will commit to looking at that and quantifying it, and maybe speaking with Mike.
Is there going to be a school zone flashing light or anything there, or?
Slow down traffic.
Currently not planning that.
I mean, it's going to be a congested areas at small times during the day, so whatever that entails.
Yeah, I guess I haven't really evaluated that or officially been asked to look into that. I think with this project, we're not anticipating that right now. That's
But I
something
mean, if
that
you
can be
drive by
exciting.
before school or after school, you see it. It's real obvious, so. Okay, we got a motion and a second to proceed. I think giving that little conversation there, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed, motion carries, all in favor. But I just would ask you to take a look at,
Yeah.
We'll quantify some of the challenges that we feel exist there.
I was going to say, I think that there's no doubt we can look at that, but I think the the Lakes Foundation and the school can look at things on their own site as well they can do. There maybe is other
Yeah.
things. I mean, looking at a high level at that piece of property, it's large.
Yeah.
I see a unimproved road that comes past Whitefish Suites and drops in there. Is there ability to queue cars use that? I don't know. I know at Eagle View, I raised kids through there. We staggered, we went down 3 different aisles to get off of the county road. I mean, that's how you solve the problem.
Eagle View is
There's
set
more-
back a lot farther. You got more room,
There
but you got
is.
more kids. Yeah.
More kids.
Yeah.
And I know that's what she said was some of the challenge, being a small school, can you just change times when you might have a first grader, third grader, and eighth grader? I get that, but
unless you have a first grader, third grader, and eighth grader,
And they're all-
as a parent.
Agreed, but I guess the point is,
Right.
there's more than one solution.
Right. Well, I would just encourage you to look at it, you know.
There's some
see.
restrictions on those other properties. Mike and I had a good conversation about the potential. They have some property to the east there, and there's some restrictions on that. It might be a longer-term solution if it continues, if they continue to get more enrollment and that spilling out onto County Road 66 increases. They probably would need to look at something, but that's for their planning folks to do, so.
Okay, Tim, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, interim planning and zoning services.
This is the job description. I'm assuming that Cheryl increased, made some changes to?
No,
Where is
this
it?
is different. This is, we're on item E8, the job description is coming up.
I'd say I don't have it.
What? Oh, that, okay.
We don't have anything in
I
the
thought the
packet
other
for
one
it.
was first. I'm sorry.
Yep.
This one here is the P and Z Commission is asking for these changes to go into effect.
Well, no, wait a second, let's back up. We're on item E8, which is discuss interim planning and zoning services, procedures, approvals, and signatures and wages.
We don't,
Oh,
I don't have anything, do you?
The discussion.
Oh, gotcha.
This was a discussion that you had with Cheryl.
Yeah.
And
okay.
Do we have the job description, the changes?
No, it's
What are
about.
we doing?
E8.
It's about with Peter's, you know.
Excellent.
Sandy
Yeah.
and Aaron
Yeah.
met
Yes.
with
Yeah,
Cheryl
Yeah.
and Mike, and this is what they talked about.
well,
What we talked about is would Cheryl be willing to pick up and act as a planning director to the best of her ability and work in that capacity and continue to do her job? In other words, she is P and Z. And she said, yes, I would for a stipend, additional pay, because that's what we did the last time when John left. We bumped her pay, and I don't remember where that all went at the time.
that was
Last time.
negotiated between the city and the ASME union. The other thing we talked about in that meeting, and Sandy, you just kind of got drug into it because you just happened to
just
walk.
stumbled in there,
You just
yeah.
stumbled into City Hall for your packet, so you sat down and joined, and I was in with it too. But one of the concerns was Cheryl already has scheduled time off during this interim period, that things will be delayed. Those dates are posted on the front door and on the window, so when you walk in and out, you can see those. Those aren't things that we can change at this time. So there will be gaps in service. And so one of the things that came out of that meeting, that I stumbled into too, was, I was asked by both Aaron and Sandy what could our options be? And, we talked a little bit, and one of the things that came out is, could we look to outside agencies like the county to help us, because they did that before. So I did place a call to Chris Pence that set us up with the county the first time, and his response, before we even got to discussion, is he said, yeah, I talked to so-and-so, and we just don't have the bandwidth to take on what we've got. Just for a reference point, and some of the numbers, I asked Chris, I said, well, how many permits do you issue and how many staff do you have? What he shared with me is he has 6 dedicated staff, that's what they do, is issue permits. They issue around 1,200 permits with those staff. And what that means is the people actually reviewing the permits, signing them, and getting them out the door, not the people going out and doing other things to support that effort. Our department issued 471 permits for Cross Lake. So that tells you about the workload and the volume of work that Peter and Cheryl are doing. And the point Chris was making is you're not going to be able to sustain that with 3 people. With 2 people, you need 3. So he said the other thing we could check with Sourcewell for an interim type person, and he said they're probably looking for people just like you are. The good news is we don't think this is permanent. We do have one application, Char, that we got, just one. They're open till the 19th, I believe, and we're kind of in a wait-and-see mode right now. But this was just to discuss what do we do in the interim, because neither Shar nor myself or anyone else in the office has a skill set and the training, whether it's septic or building or whatever, to go out and review building sites and make sure things are in the right spot, put mailboxes in the right, correct space, or whatever that be. That's what planning and zoning folks do. They're trained to do that. We are not. So we wanted to talk about what happens in the interim and how's that going to work.
Is there someone on the board, on the commission, the Planning and Zoning Commission, who just added 2 new members that might be available to, Dave, do you know if they're knowledgeable?
I would say that we just have to, we could give Cheryl some extra money, she's gonna have a load, and then just put that, our planning and zoning department is incapacitated right now until further notice, we're just gonna have to shut her down.
Can we contact Sourcewell and find out if they can temporarily help us out for
As much as they
2
could
months?
do,
Let's contact Sourcewell.
You want
Staff,
Mike to
what are you gonna
contact
do?
them? Is that what you're asking?
I'm saying, I'll make a motion that Mike contacts Sourcewell to find out if they could temporarily assist us with planning and zoning for January and February, possibly March.
Well, like Mike even said, they're struggling to find people.
No, he said
He
they
said
probably
maybe.
are. He said they
Okay.
I think we need to contact, let's not.
And I'll second that motion before we get to
Okay, but for discussion, we've got this job posted till the 19th of January. Nothing's gonna happen before then anyway, so we're just, got a crippled department, I can't see.
Contacting Sourcewell.
Yeah, right, but, we'll see. I mean, if that works out, great.
If this person works, we won't need Sourcewell.
Do we have the authority to not accept applications and stuff for, let's just say, a 2-week period of time? I'm just using that as a discussion.
I think we have a couple months, don't we? That,
Well, do
not
we,
to accept them, but to
well, we've got 60 days.
yeah, right.
But that's kind of, once you get so far behind, that 60 days goes awful quick.
Well,
We do have.
what are the
authority?
other alternatives?
Well, I don't know, but do we have the authority?
Just contact Sourcewell and find out if they have something.
Yeah.
I mean, why not?
Just let us know, Mike, what you find out.
That was a motion and second, so I
Yeah.
think we're just discussion now.
Yep.
A motion to contact Sourcewell.
Well, hopefully we
Let's
won't need
call it.
them.
Let's call it.
But let's say Sourcewell cannot help us,
Well, let's cross that bridge when we get there.
but then that's another
It's
special.
a temporary thing.
Hope they don't.
Maybe they can find.
We'd have a meeting.
I just don't know what options we have.
Yeah, we do, but that's the.
Just see what they say.
Yeah, we'll just have to do the best we can, and it's gonna be handicapped,
So the question is, can we accept permits in that interim?
Well, I would imagine
no
Cheryl
staff.
could do some,
She's leaving on vacation.
yeah, so it's
When is she leaving, Shar?
It's on the front door, I
the
don't know
night,
offhand.
yeah. But,
Well, you can't accept permits if she's not here.
And her husband's having surgery.
Just
That's on the front door.
contact
I don't,
Sourcewell.
I mean,
Call
there's,
it.
So
Okay.
you don't remember when she's leaving or what day she's off?
she's gone for like 2.5 weeks.
Okay.
2.5 weeks she's gone.
And that's
Department
predominantly
closed,
in January.
moratorium on permits.
Shut her down.
It's a good time of year anyway, it's not July.
Shut it down.
19th.
Do some recruiting, make sure it's out on all of the websites. So whoever's posting it for you, boost your recruiting. I don't know who's posting it.
Yeah, I don't either.
Shar, are you posting, the one who's posting?
Are you posting it?
LinkedIn, you make sure it's on all the websites.
Are you posting it? Where is it posted? Just on one site, newspaper?
It's been in the newspapers, it's on League of Minnesota Cities, it's on Facebook, it's on LinkedIn. TJ's in charge of those.
Is there a planning and zoning association? I think maybe you should check that, get it on there too.
Yeah, maybe you could ask TJ to do a little more, if he's good at that, I don't know.
He is. So we have a motion and a second. Need to vote on that?
Yeah. All in, I can't even remember what the motion was.
Yeah, Mike, contact source well.
Oh, yeah, okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Yeah, you got to do whatever we can do. I don't,
Now, which one are we?
All right, can we go ahead, Mr. Mayor?
Yeah, but Mike, what is the signatures and wages and whatever? So you want to give Cheryl a little bump, but it sounds like she's going to be kind of gone anyway.
Well, we're not sure what that means, and we don't have an answer on if Sourcewell can help us or not, so.
So just wait and
I would wait. We
look
can come
into a
back
couple
with
things.
something.
Dave, right now, we don't have anyone that can legally sign permits.
Then we got to put a closed sign on the door.
We were approving Cheryl to be a signature.
Oh, okay. Well, that's fine. Yeah, whatever we got to do.
So, and then the wages, last time I know we had bumped her up to what Peter was making. I don't know, where are we going to go with the wages?
You mean instead of what she's making now for the interim making?
For the interim, that's the correct term. In the interim, that she would make an additional whatever, a number of dollars.
Okay, but is she gone right now?
No, she's,
I was just going to say, how much do we have going on between now and January 17th? That's in the works. Do we know how much? How much is in action? I mean, why not just pull the plug now?
Yeah.
well, no, if she's here, she still
Do
has
we
to be
have that
working and
choice?
signing
That's what I'm
permits.
that's what I asked the attorney. Do we have the choice to just close planning and zoning and not accept any permits?
I would have to review and look into what the
Okay.
ramifications would be.
I don't know how you can't have the choice, so if you can't, what do you do?
And I can look into repercussions, what are the ramifications if we don't have
Right?
in place.
Be the Wild West.
I'd just
See
say,
all kinds of stuff going up.
right.
Because if she's not gonna
Pull the
be here
plug,
until
right.
afterwards Anyway.
Pull the plug till February.
That's going to cover the time after the closing of the applications, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean,
Pull the,
I make a motion, we approve Cheryl Stuckmeyer to sign permits during this interim period of time. We have a bunch of them sitting in there right now,
that's-
applications.
Second.
Okay. And the only comment would be to do whatever she can do, but just to give her the parameters to do
Okay.
that.
okay.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
And are we going to grant a bump for the salary? That's the next part of that.
I know, but we need to talk about that because.
Right.
If she's
Sure,
just,
yeah.
if she's just signing signature or signing permits until she leaves,
right.
why would we up her salary and then when she's going to be?
Gone.
That
She's,
makes her the acting P&Z director.
but when you're gone for 2 weeks, I mean, Cheryl's been a dedicated employee, but when you're gone for 2 weeks,
I don't
and you
know
only
the
have 2 weeks now till the 17th, it doesn't make sense to up her salary.
Then she has the option to say, no, I'm not signing, and then those permits sit there.
Well, I get it.
Yeah.
I mean,
Well, when you increase
I'm
her
just
salary for
presenting
two-
the information.
No, but I mean, are you suggesting we just increase her salary for 2 weeks? The 2 weeks between now and when she leaves?
Until someone's actually in place. I mean, you might give someone an offer and maybe they can't start right away,
Right.
you know?
You don't know.
Why don't we discuss it, put it on the agenda, February meeting? She's going to be gone for 2 weeks or whatever, and we can back pay her if we don't get anybody hired, and she's taking over interim.
Okay, if that's an option. that we
I'm
could-
fine with that.
That we
It's
could
not
back
an
pay her.
option, folks, that's not an option.
So would an
So
option be
between
to
now-
give her 3 or 4
between
bucks an
now-
hour more right now?
Yeah, she's doing it. If we approve this tonight,
Well,
she's
let's
going
just
to
do
go back
that.
in and she's going to sign permits and send them out.
She just said she was going on vacation for 2 weeks.
She's not going till the end of January, toward the end.
It's January
So
17th.
let's give her a $4 an hour stipend to do it until we figure it out.
Where'd you pull that from?
My knowledgeable bank that I carry around here. I make a motion, we give her $4 an hour more in the interim until we figure out what we're doing.
Okay, I'll second that.
Immediately, I mean, now. Yeah, today.
Can I interject?
Sure.
And I wonder, is this an issue that needs to be, and I don't have the background here, is this an issue that we need to negotiate with the union? Is
I
there a
know.
question here?
Probably.
Is he leaving?
So,
Well, he's looking, yeah, well, I just said the 17th. I said it 3 times.
Well, so we
That's
can't
not the
do
day
anything
she
until
leaves
we
on
talk to the
vacation.
union, is what you're saying. Okay, well, Mike, you gotta talk to the union, I guess, and get back to us.
Oh, gosh, careful.
But I would suggest $4 an hour or something as a point, but they'll tell us what they'll accept, I guess, so we'll just wait to hear. Isn't that the way it works?
So are we,
What'd you figure out, Aaron?
She's in and out from the 17th of January through the 12th of February, and she's here for a week and back, gone again, and so forth, so.
Should we just have Susan deal with it?
Yeah, or just do whatever we can do for a temp or whatever.
Yeah, but Susan needs to act on this and I'm going to what Shar said, that she's not hearing back, so. Can we ask Susan to hurry on it?
Sure, yeah, but
Well-
she's gotta go through the union.
Then I agree with that.
Maybe Susan isn't the holdup, maybe it's the union. Just call her. Simple call.
Do you want me to call her? Explain to her the situation?
Perfect.
Okay.
I move that Dave call Susan.
Well,
We have a motion
We have a
second.
motion and a second. You need to vote.
To let her sign.
No,
No.
to pay her $4 more an hour.
We gotta let it die. We have to vote on it and let it die.
So all in favor?
No, sorry.
Opposed? Yes. Motion fails somehow.
Yeah.
Can never just be easy. Yeah.
Oh, that poor Jordan over there says his head's spinning.
Come on, it's 9:30
Okay, do you want to make a motion for me to call up Susan and talk to her?
I'll make a motion that you call Susan and talk to her.
Okay.
I second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, I will do that tomorrow morning. Okay, Mike, are you still up?
Yes, I am.
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
So if Susan says it's fine, we can just offer her more money, do we have to have we have to have a special meeting to do that?
I think we can back pay. We'll make a motion.
Aaron, when we did it last time, or when you guys did it last time, how did you do it?
Bumped her to what John Colstead had been making for that interim period of time.
Well,
But evidently, we can't do that without talking to,
Well, but the question for Dave would be, can we bump her to what,
Dave.
Peter.
Thank you,
Situation.
Peter was
John
making.
Holston was not making nearly what Peter is making now, though, because
Well,
John
but
was
Cheryl's probably right now making what Peter was,
what John was, but.
or John was, I'm sorry.
So Dave, you'll find that out tomorrow when you talk to Susan?
Yep, I'll
Let
talk
me
to
know what you
Susan,
need
I'll
with
let you
that.
know.
But my question is that, you're saying, Marcia, we can just back pay her? Okay.
Okay, we'll try to do something as quick as we can on that.
And-
Okay, let's move on. Fee schedule.
Okay, so we're on item F, City Administrator Report, correct?
Yep.
All right. First item, number 1, is Planning and Zoning Fee Schedule Adjustments. Now, this was put together by Peter and Cheryl, while they're both here. The changes are in red, and their recommendation is that
Back up.
they approve the fee schedule as presented. The changes are in red.
Can I just,
Sure.
I was looking through these, I mean, the disparity between the amount of increase, I mean, some are increased by 325%, some are increased by 200%, some are increased by 140%. I mean, why the disparity? Why wasn't it just across the board a certain increase?
I think there is a disparity in what we were charging already to try to be more in line with what our neighboring cities are charging. Is that correct, Aaron?
Yeah.
So they tried to get somewhere in the middle, as I believe?
Yeah, well, they tried to get up higher. I know some wanted them a lot higher than what they are listed here. But, yeah, they wanted to get them up to be competitive with other cities.
So they weren't uniform to begin with? Is what you're telling me?
Correct.
Yes.
So you just tried to get, okay.
There hasn't been an increase. How many years, Jerry, do you remember?
Okay.
I don't remember. But it's been a long time since there's been any increases.
I think it was about 15, 18 years.
Okay.
Whoa.
Well, it's been a long time, I know
Yep.
that.
No, I mean, there's no doubt there needs to be an increase. I just was kind of shocked by, the range of
The
percent
only,
of increase.
the only one I'll point out is on page 3 at the section 44-402. That is actually TJ's world there, but they had suggested that it gets bumped from 1,500 to 1,850. Maybe you want to go higher. That's the fees that people pay per lot when they develop.
I disagree with that increase. I disagree with the whole park dedication thing, but
Well, no, they said it should go to Peter. Peter should have input on it.
We'll do.
If you want to hold up on that one, I don't care. Hold up on that one only.
pull that one item out.
Yeah.
I just want to talk about that item for a minute. When somebody does a property split, they're already paying the subdivision costs, they're paying all that stuff, and then they got to pay that dedication fee on top of that. And
Yep.
it's like a taxation thing or something. I don't understand it. I know it's great for the park, generates some money, but I don't know. It used to be $5,000, I think, before. But that to me is, I don't agree with that whole park dedication fee. So to
I
increase
remember
that,
it being 1,500 for a long, long time, and that's all I don't know anything from before, but
we're trying to get
we
people
could
to,
separate that out because,
let's pull that out.
okay. But I'll make a motion, we accept the remainder of those increases.
Besides,
And pull out the park dedication fee.
Correct.
The increase or just the fee entirely? Because that required an ordinance change, correct, Shar?
No, don't pull it out entirely, but
Okay.
leave it where it is. Just
Okay.
pull the increase out.
Leave it at 1,500 for now until we talk to TJ.
Okay, so that's a motion. You're going to second it?
second.
Can I just ask, so this is,
Yes, I will second that one.
this is consistent with what, surrounding communities are charging?
Aaron?
That's what we're told
Well, by whom?
by staff.
This is,
That'd be Cheryl
That
and
and Bill? Yeah,
who weren't here.
the commission did this, not
okay.
us.
The commission, the Planning and Zoning Commission?
Yes.
Oh,
Yes.
okay, all right,
They know what's up.
yeah.
Okay, so we voted on that?
No, we have to vote
No, you
on
have
it
to
now.
vote yet.
So call a vote.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries all in favor.
All right, item number 2 is a recommendation from the Planning and Zoning Commission to approve an ordinance amendment request from Matthew Galloway. And Aaron, you were on that. You're familiar with that, so maybe you could talk about that?
They were kind enough to come and meet with us 3 times at the Planning Commission. Am I right, Matt? Yeah, and they started out with half acre, and it went up higher and back down, and then everybody agreed on rural residential -2 R2 for a new zoning condition, and that would apply to this plot. Did you, come on up, Matt.
I couldn't tell which of these, because it's not shown which ones they're talking about.
Matthew Galloway, 13148 Fawn Lake Road. The way that it started, we went to planning and zoning originally with my first original plan, which was actually 1 acre lots for my property on 103. Kind of got the feel from everybody there that they were kind of leaning more that they'd rather be towards the 2.5 acre, which I still think is too much property for that area. But I drew up a plan with the 2 acre lots. When I went to planning and zoning, they said that this bringing it to try to get the ordinance changed had nothing to do with my piece of property. It was just to get the ball rolling to make a change for Cross Lake to come up with a smaller lot size than a 5 acre piece of property for a single residence house, which some people it's great, others it's a lot of land to try to upkeep, and our town already doesn't have enough place for people to come into this town, get jobs. We have young adults that want to start up here. We have elderly that want to downsize from their lake houses, and we're restricting ourselves, and we're running out of place to do it. And my piece of property that I'm talking about, I think there's lots of places in this town that could do it, and I think you guys need to be selective and make the town what you guys want it to be. But I have a bunch of different areas. You guys also have in your stuff, you know, future land uses that you guys already had and went over. You guys didn't adopt them, but you guys had a low-density section for residential and a medium-density for residential. That was 1 acre lots that, like I said, you didn't adopt them at the time, but it was in the future land plan for Cross Lake. And I guess what I'm trying to see is for you guys to come up with changing that we can do something smaller than a 5 acre lot. I have drawings for my piece of property with a 1 acre, dedicating a nice corner area for park use that could be used. Wildwind Ranch has a beautiful walking trail that they use all the time. And kind of where I drew this walking path or this park area would be right in the same corner that they use a walking path. You could have nice seating area. You could put a little playground in there. I've heard rumor through the grapevine of Cross Lake that there might be a bike path that goes all the way over to 103. You know, there's just lots of opportunity out there.
There's a lot of opportunities.
Matt, do you have any drawings of the 1 acre lots on your piece of property
I
that
do.
you're proposing?
I do.
But this right here, Dave, is an ordinance change, which would formally adopt 2 acre lots.
Well,
right now, we have 5 acre.
In this section.
That's the smallest we
Across
have
the
in this
board
city.
or per instance?
In this area, just in this section.
It will create a 2 acre lot, read it, very front. Rural residential -5 or R5, and what this is proposing change to is rural residential -2 R2.
Okay, that's fine. But now we're discussing the fact that it's in between Dancing Bear and Wildwood Ranch that are both 1 acre lots.
Yeah, but this right here is to formally create 2 acre lot.
On
They can
every
do it
parcel in the city.
wherever people want to put it.
But it's got Matt Galloway's name on it, and we're talking
Well,
about his piece of
because he
property
brought it
specifically.
forward.
Yeah,
That was
and
the
I
one that
did,
came
and I
in.
brought it forward to change the ordinance to get something smaller than
Yeah.
5 acre lots, because it don't make sense for 5 acre lots everywhere in this town. And you guys, I mean, already have future plans, but my writing, I had a 1 acre one and I had a 2 acre one. And, I mean, we can go to planning zoning all day long and put all these things and try to get them to city council. I just think there needs to be a change.
Well, but I don't want to be part of a change across the board, you know, because 5 acre lots are
You guys should be
nice.
able to pick and choose what you guys
But I
do.
think when we look in this neighborhood, 1 acre lots fits perfect.
Well, I have my drawing and I have a drawing of all the developments around me and what size the lots are from
We've
what I
got this
submitted
drawing
to you
here.
guys.
We've got this drawing with your undeveloped plat in the middle, but do you have one with your developed plat the way you propose it?
I have one right here, yes.
And I think you're talking about a 29 acre chunk?
Yes.
And how many lots are on, how many 1 acre lots do you have on that 29 acres?
22 with a 3 acre city park in would be the southeast corner.
So you have 22 1 acre lots,
Yep,
and that's taken out the roadway and the 3 acres for the parkland.
yep.
That looks swell.
So I don't
I
know,
don't know if you do have that.
No, just down a little bit. There you go.
That looks good.
yeah, so,
So we
Dave,
can't-
what you're suggesting then is it goes back to the planning commission for
That
discussion?
this gets denied.
Yeah, this would have to be denied, okay? It would have to go back to the planning commission for consideration for smaller size.
For just his instance.
Well,
yeah, not
I mean,
across the
this
board.
fits perfectly.
Yeah.
This is great.
no, I don't, yeah.
We can't,
But what they're trying to do is create a formal
right,
2 acre lot one.
right.
Right.
And that's fine,
And he can still come in to the planning commission.
and that's fine. I have no problem with that. It's been so difficult because I started with Peter and then Peter kind of disappeared and you don't have anybody to feed off of and see what the next step is and where you need to go. So it's just kind of, it's nice to get up here and actually get a feel from you guys and kind of get I want the ball to go in the right direction, so.
Keep in mind, he can still come back to what he was looking for, zoning changes. He can still come back to the planning condition for conditional use, and he can apply for the smaller lots to get 1 acre lots.
Well, Matthew, I hope you do that because I think.
But what he's looking for is the zoning.
Yeah, but
Right.
I don't, does anybody have an appetite to change the zoning in town to 2 acres across the board?
No, no.
I don't.
So are we approving just his lots?
We're not
Why can't-
approving anything right now.
Not tonight.
But you want 1 acre ones?
But this is saying,
I just think it's fitting for the area.
So
says
if we
within
think
this
it,
district is single family, it's within single family dwelling, but that would apply to any outside shoreland.
Yep.
Shoreland is different. Well, yeah, if you want to deny it, that's
so,
fine. Just send it
so
back.
you're going to put in here instead, in the rural residential, the R2, 1 acre lots on a new zoning request. Is that,
I mean, yeah,
is that what you're
Specific
thinking?
property.
Like I said, I wrote that. But, I mean, you can rate this, I didn't know you guys were gonna totally go off how I proposed it or wrote it, so I'm new to this and learning at the same time, so.
No, they've been great coming in and working with the commission. Just, I mean, I don't think there's been any,
I just think that's a good area for a good fit for 1 acre lots. But I think,
well, then you need to come in just specifically for that 20, whatever it is, acre.
I think that the board should
Just
reserve the
resubmit
opportunity to look at
applications.
them.
Unfortunately.
No, that's fine, I
So,
don't,
question for the council. On page 3 of this application, there is a recommendation by the Planning and Zoning Commission to approve back from December 15th for city council approval for the ordinance amendment to include rural residential RR2 district. So the motion voted. So if they voted on changing it to 2, why didn't they change it to 1?
We voted on it for a 2 acre. It's right now it's a 5 acre R.
Right.
And we only voted to have it down to 2 acres. We didn't want to go to 1 acre because some people maybe want 2 acres.
Okay, thank you.
And we're going already from 5 acres down to 2.
But they can buy 2 lots.
Just buy 2 acres?
2 1 acre.
So,
If they just buy 2 1 acre?
city attorney, I forgot, Jordan?
Jordan.
Okay, I'm sorry. It's a learning curve. So could the city council just approve it with R2 and 1 acre lots if we wanted to? Does it have to go back to planning and zoning? If this is what we want? It's going to have to, I'm sure.
Thank you.
Yeah.
It should be back.
Yeah.
To a 1 acre lot.
Yeah.
Come on, Jerry.
This is an ordinance amendment.
So
I'm thinking we gave enough going from 5 to a 2. He knew when he bought it was a R5. He sold 2 lots that are 5 acres already.
Mike?
So I think you guys are talking about 2 different things.
Okay.
They approved to go from
Has to go back to the planning commission, period.
to city council. That's what you guys have in front of you right now, which they've recommended. He's asking, all right, this is my initial position of, I wanted 1, we settled on 2. If he's going back to the city council to ask for the conditional, or planning and zoning commission to ask for the rezoning or a special, conditional use more to go from 2 to 1, that's another meeting. What you now is what they presented you with, to go from 5 to 2. So he's just bringing it to your attention that you might have the intention to go back to them for 1.
The way I understand this,
I realize what's in front of us. I was just asking if we had to go back to planning and zoning. And I guess I
answer is yes.
agree. We
Yeah.
have to go back to planning and zoning. You have to submit another request. If you don't, if you don't want to do this? Do you want to still submit this, the 2 acres?
My question is this across the board in the city of Cross Lake, are we changing all RR5?
No, what we're
To
creating,
R2.
Dave, is an R2 district.
It would be
But
a
so-
separate district is the way it's rolled up. You'd still have the R5, but you would just be adding a zone is what
And then
you'd be adding.
different lots would be still sitting at R5, and they would have to apply for R2.
And I would have to apply anyways because it wasn't going for my piece anyways. It was going for an ordinance change.
Correct.
Well,
Yeah.
I mean, we could approve this if that's the case. I don't want to approve it throughout the town, though. I mean, a whole change everything.
You're just rezoning that district to,
That's what it says.
to,
Where?
That district. I mean,
Oh, he had it up there. What was it, 20?
That's our attorney.
Joe Langle was trying to talk. I'm sorry.
Yeah, Mayor and Council, you don't have an R2 right now, correct?
Correct.
Right, so to create one, you would have to actually have ordinance language before you to put back into your code. And that's not present in this staff report.
Okay, so we need to just deny this tonight, Joe Hahn. Take a look at it.
we can't
No,
approve.
This is the request to direct the attorney
To draft.
to draft an ordinance
Okay, all right.
to add
R2.
RR2.
Does that make sense, Joe?
Well, I guess I didn't read it that way, but I mean, if the request is to create a new zone called rural residential 2 and come back with a code amendment, yes, we can certainly do that.
Yes, that is the intent.
That's correct.
And we can still decide on a case-by-case deal who's going to be in that district?
We're not talking about that.
All right, as long as we're not talking about that. I just don't see any limitation on this, but
okay, when it says the
Other
use
than
within
Scott.
this district, so by this district, do they just mean the land that Matthew owns?
On the
Whatever
map,
land.
it'll show R2 district, right?
Because Matt's land still is RR5.
Right.
He would have to apply
Right.
to have it changed to RR2.
Right, that's what.
So
he's doing.
We're
Even if-
just
Go ahead.
trying to get RR2 added to the city code.
Yeah.
That's the first step.
And it simplifies how their processes and applications work.
But we would still have the option to deny.
Right. So everyone
Applicants.
that wanted RR2 would have to
Well, the
apply.
planning commission would.
Right.
The planning commission would.
Right, but then we vote on it.
Yeah.
The planning commission
Right.
would vote on it.
Right.
Okay, so can I make a motion that we have an ordinance amendment drafted by the attorney for a rural residential R2 zone with minimum lot size 2 acres?
Second,
I didn't hear your motion, Marcia.
just to establish RR2,
Oh.
just to get it
Ordinance
moving.
amendment to establish a R2 2-acre minimum.
okay, and then Matt is to come back to the planning commission and make this down to 1 acre lots.
Right.
After this is done. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries, all in favor. Good luck, Matt.
That request answered.
Okay, we're on item 3, is the council approval for revised planning and zoning administrator job description. The changes are in front of you, and they're noted in red to the current description.
Is there any wage, any salary in here, Mike? I don't see anything.
There is not.
These are the changes Cheryl talked to you about the other day at the meeting, and you asked her to put them in writing, and this is what she is bringing forward.
But so now you're advertising for a new planning and zoning administrator, right?
Yes.
Right?
Yes,
What
we
is,
are.
what is the wage, what did we decide on, what's the posting say?
Well, no, this has nothing to do with the posting date.
Oh, but I mean, I'm just wondering,
Oh.
what does it say?
Shar, were the changes included in the posting? Oh.
Because we haven't approved.
Oh.
So Cheryl got up there and said her piece. Is this stuff that she wants done, or is this stuff that needs to be done? It sounded like it was more of a want and maybe not a need.
This is stuff she said that the administrator is already doing that isn't listed in the description.
Okay.
Then it should be included.
So then it should be included.
The salary range is 77,175 to 95,550.
Exactly. I'll make a motion to approve this planning and zoning administrator job position description.
Second.
Yep, it's fine.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
All right, thank you. Item 4 is to approve the waste hauler licenses for 2024, and those are Waste Partners, Inc., Pequot Lake Sanitation Limited, Waste Management of Minnesota, Inc.
I'll make a motion that we approve the waste hauler licenses for 2024.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And then related to that is item number 5, approval to publish the notice of licensed waste haulers in the official newspaper.
I'll make a motion that you approve or that you post those in the newspaper.
Go ahead, say it quick. All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. All in favor.
All right, thank you. Item 6, this year is our compliance year. Every 3 years, we have to do pay equity. And the short story on pay equity is if you have 2 job classes, if you have the same job class, and if one is occupied by a male and one is occupied by a female, you have to pay them the same. It's more geared towards making sure women are paid at the same rate men are. And so what we do, there's 2 things we have to do. We put in our current wage scale and the current holders for those positions as of the year ended 2023. And then 2 things have to happen. Before I can submit the report for analysis, I have to have council permission to submit the report. But we never like to submit the report until we know that we pass. In our case, so Friday I had a conversation with Dominique Murray. She's the person at Minnesota Management and Budget that does this. So we did a test case on our data and we pass. So now what will happen is if you give me permission to submit the report by the end of this month, they'll do their official analysis, and sometime in late April, mid-May, they'll notify us, they'll provide us with a compliance certificate as such.
I move to approve that you submit your report.
Okay?
Second.
It looks good, like doing well.
Don't forget the fire chief.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And I have nothing further.
Okay, Mike, let's back up to Marcia's request about the fire chief wages. Did he accept? Is Chip here?
He's on Zoom.
Chip is on Zoom. And if he's paying attention, he can speak for himself. Chip, you're on mute, Chip.
Hello there. I didn't hear the question.
What did you accept the wages that we gave you, the salary, or where are you at with that?
I sent Mike a counteroffer that he was supposed to disperse to council.
Did everybody get it?
I finally ended up getting it,
Yes.
but it's just not on the agenda, or it wasn't on the agenda for tonight.
So, Chip, our offer, I believe, was for 84 with benefits. And the way I read your counteroffer is after the first of the year, the 5% increase, it went up to about 99 with benefits? I'm going off of memory because I don't have it here. But I think it went 84 to 89 with a $5,000 adjustment for the emergency management portion, and then a 5% increase January 1st. Is that correct?
I believe that is correct. I don't have the numbers in front of me.
And 5% is 99.
So you're not accepting our,
Dave pulled it up.
our proposed wage?
this machine.
So he's wants 99. What do you guys want to do with that?
We are negotiating that.
Yeah, can we even do that in open meeting?
I don't know.
Okay, I found the,
Jordan, can we negotiate this in an open meeting, or should it be?
There's no difference between now and a special meeting.
And is this a union position? Sorry.
no.
Yes.
No.
Well, it is too. It is too. The union's representing them.
No, they're not.
No, it's-
I'm not being represented by a
It's
union.
not in the union.
Okay, then we don't need to deal with the union, so,
Okay.
okay.
I disagree with that. What?
Did the council all get the email from Susan Hanson citing that he's in the collective bargaining?
Yes, I
Okay.
got that too.
Yes, because she's stated the statutes, everything. If we can't listen to our labor attorney and we think we know more, then get rid of the attorneys and wing it. What?
So what do you have, what I was asked to submit to you was Chip's counteroffer, which I did, so all of you have that. I think you need to look at that and decide what you want to do.
Do you want us to do that tonight?
That's entirely up to you. It was not on the agenda for tonight. We were hoping it'd be at a separate meeting.
What do you want to do
I
with the
don't,
judge?
I don't want to consider the counteroffer. Either he accepts or rejects the offer we gave him.
I was a no from the get-go, so I'm still a no.
Yeah, I don't want that increase either until we see how it goes.
Yeah, well, I'd be willing to support an increase to 89, but not the 5% increase.
The 5,000 plus the 5%?
no.
I know, the 5,000, but not the additional 5% increase in.
So
No,
you-
it
you
went-
re-
it
You've really
went
got
from-
two issues here. You've got, now remember, you approved the job position as full-time
Right.
back in July of last year. So now,
We offered him 84, and then
Correct.
he came back with a counteroffer of 89.
correct.
With the 5% increase. I'm saying I would accept the 89, but,
Well, that wasn't how, well, it was 84 and it went to 89 because of $5,000 bump for being the emergency manager.
Plus, and then.
Part of the fire
Plus,
chief's
the
job.
first of the year, you get a
5% on
5%
top.
increase.
that's what I'm balking at.
Can I say something? Marcia, to respond to your, it's the fireman's job. Well, it wasn't the fireman's job. It was always Bob Hartman's job, and then I just took it over, and I had the training for it, but never was compensated for it.
For the emergency manager?
That is correct. I was paid by the hour rather than a salaried position.
Okay. Well, what did you say? You go to what? Aaron will go with whatever.
Yeah, 89.
Yeah, I'll agree with her.
With no first of the year increase or no?
No 5. We're not giving Jake the 5%, so
Right.
we'd be consistent with the
Wait
two.
till April.
We're not going back to July. We're starting, it was effective January 1st.
Unfortunately, we never said that. We just
Yes.
said
That was in her motion, was that we, effective January 1st, we'd put him on $84,000 wage.
I think Marcia's right.
Starting
Is she?
January 1st,
Marcia's correct about that.
Yeah. So you're saying you go 89 effective January 1st?
Yes.
That puts him right at Jake.
Right,
Right at Jake.
Yep.
right.
Well, make a motion.
Okay, I move that we make a new offer of 89,000 a year effective January 1st for Chip.
Second.
And that doesn't include no increase from the first of the year?
To be determined at a future date.
So are we splitting that 84 and 89, that 5,000 is emergency management director? And that's what the emergency management director would get, 5,000. It wouldn't be an automatic increase every year unless we chose. It's not going to be He's saying he wants to be paid $5,000 for emergency management director.
On top of the 84. That brings it
Right.
to 89.
Yeah.
Exactly. But that will be the wage until we change emergency management wage.
Well, that's another issue.
Yeah.
Okay, we have a,
Okay, so we got a counter for you, Chip, of 89.
well, we have to vote on it.
Yeah, that's the motion.
Yep.
We got a motion and a second, so all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
Opposed.
Aye.
Vote goes through 3-2. Okay. Now, you were done, Mike, with yours?
Yes, sir. I'm done.
Okay, EDA, Patty, are you still?
Wait, did he accept? Did he accept or not?
He doesn't have to accept tonight. He can get back to us.
Okay.
But she's going to have to pay